Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another Element event. We are here in the final duos qualifier, the third of three. Timmy, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing so great. I woke up knowing that I was going to see some top tier Spellbreak, and I just felt so pumped and ready for it. Everybody coming through. And today they're bringing their BFFs. We got the duo stuff throwing down. But before we get into the action, before I get too excited, please tell the people how it goes. What's the rules? How do we do this thing?
Yeah, this is the standard format. You guys have all probably seen it before. We got 6 total games and then the prizing. So the top 5 teams from today's event will make it into the finals. I already mentioned that this is the third qualifier, so we have 10 teams ready. We just need 5 more. And the prizing in that finals, which will be taking place next week, the first place gets 2 Warlock chapter packs with Nightshade codes. Second place gets 4 Spellslinger chapter pack with 2 Nightshade codes. And third place gets 2 Spellslinger packs with 2 Nightshade codes. Those packs come with in-game currency, cosmetic skins, and all the works. But Timmy, I want to ask you about predictions today because we got some great teams in here.
Oh, yes, we do. Definitely. I see some really exciting names. Obviously, the legends, the veterans. We got people like Elpadog. We got people like Cam Sucks, Gigabyte coming through. But we actually have some newer names and actually some returning names. I got a big shout out to Cutie Patooties down there with Alicia X Life. And I think if you're asking for my predictions, I think that I'm actually going to name a team that's newer. I don't think they've come through yet, consisting of one of my boy Ross, my moderator, and also a fellow caster, Crashy, is in the mix, going by the name of Synonymous. And I think that I've seen both these players really throw down, hold their own, really solid players. Crashy has a great evasive playstyle where he gets in and gets out very effectively. Ross is that Frostborn guy on the back line. And I think if they can work on their positioning and they can move across the map well, we might see a very surprising outcome to these rounds. But you've been around for a while. What do you think of plays? You know these guys. You've seen them play. What's going to happen here?
Well, first of all, I want to mention the 2 teams that you just mentioned, right? It gets me excited as a caster because that's 2 casters playing in today's event. Alicia X Life is a fantastic caster playing in casting fighting games and doing a bit of Spellbreak work. And then also we got Crashy, as you all know, doing element casting. So 2 casters playing in today's event. Both of them are really great players, and I'm excited to see how they flesh out. But my prediction to win it, as someone who's been around competitive for a while and always giving the most boring predictions, I got Runic Dreams with Elpadog and Cam Sucks, 2 fantastic competitive players coming out, really great communication in their separate squads, but coming together, I think they'll work very well.
Definitely, I would say it's definitely a safe bet in terms of just knowing how to play in this scene, knowing how to play on this competitive battlefield, knowing exactly how important positioning is, how important movement is. I think when it comes down to these qualifiers and Spellbreak in a competitive scene, it's really more about, how can we move together? Where's the optimal position? Because all these players know how to play the game. They can all throw down toe-to-toe in combat, but where's the teamwork come in? How do we make the most of our composition? Where do we position ourselves to really be the most optimal team in this match? And really, I think Elpa and Camsucks are definitely those 2 that have probably some of the most experience in that realm of thought. But also, I do want to give a big shout out before we move on to Ancient Generic and Trap Boys. They've been playing the game for a few months or so. I've seen Trap Boys come through and win some rounds on that Xbox. We got Ancient Generic on PlayStation. Just awesome to see these console players come through together and show up and show that they can perform in these community or these competitive events, and really, shows up and represents the console. So we'll see what happens moving in, but it's going to be exciting. It's definitely going to be a good day of Spellbreak plays.
Oh, I agree. And when we were talking about predictions, right, before the broadcast started, it was not easy to make these predictions. There's tons of sleeper teams, great teams hidden away in the ranks here. I'm talking about, let me check the list. Praise the Sun. I was looking at CL Solar Bear and Maju on that team. Dork Apple with Dork and Gay Pineapples. Ilya Byte with Ilya and Gigabyte, although I heard that Ilya will be subbing out, something about him missing the event. So we'll see who comes in and fills that spot. But those are a couple other teams that are just sleeping around the ranks, ready to take a spot.
And honestly, I think we're even going to have some newer ones. I've been for this past week seeing some new names come into the lobbies. I've actually had the pleasure of hosting some duo events, and we've got if you look at the team EV, by the name of Autumn and Off to Valhalla. I'm not sure how new they are to the element scene, but to me personally, they're newer to me. I've kind of got to know them as gamers in these lobbies, and they really come through and been putting the time through to kind of sharpen their blade, kind of refine their craft, and kind of make that teamwork a little bit better than it would have been otherwise. So I got to shout out to them. Definitely see that team come through and put some practice in the game. And I think that's what's going to be interesting about today's qualifier for me is we've casted squads, I've casted solos, but the interesting thing about duos is it's got that teamwork composition, but it's got more of a only one link in the chain of, you got to rely on each other. You got to be able to back each other up. It's got that tag team mentality, and we'll see who come through and really step up and back each other up in this game. But I think we're getting ready to drop down plays. Let's get it started. I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm ready to go for game 1 here. Remember, 6 games total, so we got about a 2-hour event we're looking at. Tons of fantastic games coming up. I can't wait. And also, I want to mention, I just casted a duos event this week for scrims, and it's exactly like you're talking about. In squads, when you drop a member, of course it's detrimental. When you have someone in orb form and you only have 2 members standing, it's crucial. But in duos, it's even more crucial. You cannot let your teammate get downed, and if he does, you need to make either a decisive move to pick him up or just get out of town. Duos just requires that snap decision making that you see in squads, but it also includes a little bit more rotations, as you mentioned, and we are off in game 1. Timmy, take it away.
Oh my gosh, we're going to be jumping down, and it looks like in this area with our couple of Xbox player, Lashshot TTV going right into the fight on that Pyromancer, and that's definitely one of the better classes to have in an early engagement. Hopefully going to be able to come through and throw down some big damage and secure an exile or so for this squad here, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty even fight as both players have taken a little bit of damage. Lashshot about down to half HP, but it looks like now we got some focus fire coming out as they have both targeted this opponent here and throw down the damage as they are down to about less than 10 HP. But whoa, out of nowhere, an explosion comes through and Lashshot will go down as they do orb this other player. Looks like his teammate Kemet will be able to come through with a potential revive, but from behind, the Frost Lance is drawn and is let loose, but it looks like the ears are working on Kemet as he uses that sound cue to get out of dodge right at the last second. Really repositions beautifully there to get the revive off, force that player off of his tower and into the danger zone, and they're going to be able to clean up that engagement there. Big pickups for Lashshot and Kemet, going to be able to really pick up this loot and snowball from this point on as we jump over to the cutie patooties in the mix and Halcyon plays.
Yeah, we got South moving up with that Chrono Master in his rune selection. So I don't know if that's intentional or just what he found on the way to this fight, but we'll see how he uses it. Throws out the Ice Lance, but misses. You see Alicia X Life running up to take that front side, throwing down those stone slams, trying to get a bit more damage on this opponent, but he shadow steps out. And now we see this team, Cutie Patooties, trying to push as hard as they can into this 2v2. They want the fight, Timmy. Can they win it?
It looks like the pressure is on, and that might be all they need. Unfortunately, though, we see Soft with the Chronomancer, and that will be a good little way to keep yourself safe, but unfortunately, it will be almost negative mobility as we see him rewind there and kind of leave his teammate back by herself there for a second. Nice little Frost Lance trade from Soft and his opponent, but yet again, we have a rewind and Alicia going up front. This is probably where Alicia wants to be on that Stone Shaper class. Definitely going to be a bruiser, frontline, sustainable type of character in this composition, and Soft got the Frost on the back line. Definitely going to be a great backup with some long range shots. And but in Halcyon, you got to be really careful. I love the aggression. I love the action. That's exciting to watch. But in terms of survivability, pushing in blindly like this with potentially third parties from all around could be the end of your game if you're not careful. And it looks like they might be thinking that through as they do pump the brakes for a second, breathe, and reposition before they just go straight in to this action that is already down to 29 players just in the blink of an eye in this lobby right now. It's popping off. Clockwise going crazy in the kill feed. And let's see what happens next as they reposition and loot up.
Yeah, and we see Soft got the teleport picked up, so the Chrono Master will be left behind. And now we get over to Cam Really Does Suck with Runic Dreams teammate Alpadog throwing down a couple frost shots. Oh! Plants the Clown 900 with a quick flick of the wrist. And Cam Really Does Suck, aka Cam Sucks, taking a pot after a clean little snipe.
Ooh, comes on through to try to go for the exile, and it looks like the firewall will come down. Really, really great use of the firewall. It's an instant cast. You really can't, anticipate it coming through, and it's really going to do a great job of pushing Cam off of that exile. Unfortunately, though, we got Elpa Dog, the guard dog here, still around, still lurking, keeping a close eye on things. And as Tony Mon PE comes through, he's going to get gobbled up by the one and only. No, he doesn't. Elpa. And now, as we look at the kill feed, we can't sleep for a second as Gay Pineapple and Crashy does put down some kills. It looks like at least down at least some orb form stuff going on. Gay Pineapple is able to bring his teammate back up to life, and it looks like the fight is on in an open field. Definitely a good place for the shockwaves on the Stone Shaper, and a flick overhead with the fireball will connect as Case of Beer does go out of the game. 24 players are all that remains, and it looks like our caster friend Crashy is popping up in that kill feed quite a bit, and it looks like he's on the positive side of things. So it looks like he's going to be able to make his way into the top 24 players so far as things get a little bit more heated and involved.
Yeah, I got high hopes for Crashy. People sleep on how good he is at the game. He's a fantastic caster, but he can really get down in these lobbies. I have big faith in his team, especially with It's Your Boy Ross. You were talking about him in the pregame, but we got to get back to Runic Dreams as Cam really does suck. Eats a frost knife as he shadow steps forward. His teammate Alpadog is taking a little bit of a potion, and quickly, as you noticed, Cam really does suck is the username for Cam, and Elpadog has no he doesn't as his username. So they're even supporting each other with their name structure, Timmy.
That's what you want to see. That's what duos is all about. That right there, that level of support might be what it takes to win these lobbies. I just got to say, BFFs all together, it warms my heart. I love to see it as a pyromancer. That's what I'm about. Warm my heart. But here we go. Somebody that does not have as much of a warm heart, a little bit of an icy gaze coming through from Gay Pineapple in that kill feed as 1, 2, and 3 people go down one after another, and it's just popping off. A little bit of a shockwave come through, and now we're going to hop on over to Dork and Gay Pineapples to see exactly what is going on to feed these kills over to Gay Pineapples. Beautiful reposition by Dork, and now he's not going to commit too much as he did take a little bit of armor down, and now we're going to see him back up to that Gay Pineapples player there. His teammate is there. It's kind of set the line, set a little bit of a sanctuary, a little bit of a fort. This is where I want to stay. If you can come back to me, then we should be safe as long as we fight together. But as soon as they reposition, they heal up, they're going to be able to push through and maybe flank around and get some good damage on these players that seem to be hanging around these tower areas.
And Dork has that Fortitude proc ready, so he's feeling a little bit easier to go in aggressive, hitting with that Toxic Sap, and the combo with the Frost. Nice play by Dork. Still hasn't procced his Fortitude. There it goes now as he has the kill shot. Dork with the snipe onto AM, and now the other teammate will probably fall to Dork Apples. Oh my god, he cannot miss Timmy. Dork is ready to go in game 1.
This is what you want on your team in any squad on Spellbreak. Having the Frost Lance on your hand, it just slots into so many builds, and having somebody that can hit every flick like we've just seen is just the way to win the game. And we see Gay Pineapples coming through, has that Stone Shaper class, a really, really popular frontline class that can really take damage, heal themselves up, and put out a lot of damage in case that opponent doesn't play on the terms of the floor is lava, and can really open up some opportunities for that backline like Dork to come through and secure some exiles with that Frost Lance. Looks like a little bit of pressure coming through as Dork does have to retreat behind this pile of rocks here. We'll be able to drink up some armor, but not going to be able to get all the way healed up. But look at the Thirsty talent, not completely upgraded, but a really, really important talent in these games to be able to reposition and get that resource, those armor, that health back when you need it. Unfortunately, will fall as the pressure comes in a little bit too far, too close, as it looks like the flash freeze will not be able to protect him from that shockwave that connects underneath. Gay Pineapple's going down as well, as it looks like he's going to have to reposition, and now not in a great position at all, as there are at least 2 players around, and it's going to be a 1v2 situation. Spring Step coming out as he does try to get away and give himself some distance in between this pursuer and maybe a potential heal up and reset here. And it looks like he's going to be able to do that, but he might have to forfeit his teammate to do so. Unfortunate position. Looks like a little bit of maybe a third party coming in, but that is the name of the game plays. They're going to have to figure out how to turn this around and maybe potentially come back.
We got 15 people left in the game, Timmy, so this lobby's moving quite quickly. Kemet Raw gets the exile onto Dork, even though Cam Sucks took the disrupt, so the kill credit will go to Cam, but Kemet gets his name in the kill feed. We got Gay Pineapples rotating, as you said, Timmy. He left his teammate to die. He's going to have to do what he can on his own with this 14-player left lobby.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes it's a difficult decision to make because bringing that teammate back will be so much value. Sometimes it is the right decision to make. And honestly, when you get down to that solo play toward a smaller area in the lobby, if that solidarity, that kind of stealthiness can come in handy. And sometimes you can pop off and get a surprising win. But right now, Crashy and it's your boy Ross is a trying to pop off, coming through big time as Ross lines up a frost shot, gives himself a nice little air perch as that Frostborn class will allow him to hover in the air for quite a bit. Crashy going in really, really close and takes so much damage in the blink of an eye. Full armor, full health, and down to almost 30 there or less. We see him retreating quite quickly, and Ross, the Frostborn, coming taking the front line to try to give him some time, try to give his teammates some time to heal up, reset, and just buy some time for him to be able to get that health and that resource, that armor back on hand, so he can come through with that conduit and potentially back Ross back up. But looks like he's going to go down quite quickly as Ross does find a second to heal up with that thirsty talent, but right back into the face of these opponents he goes and takes quite a bit of damage from that toxic slap. Now running for his life. Tundra coming out to give him a little bit of a safe way to play, but Alacrity is going to have to be used to try to get away, but cannot make it happen as another Frostborn by the name of Solar Bear comes through, and he hits those as Ross desperately tries to find a place to heal and reset. There's nowhere to go when you get hit by an icicle in the back of the head. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, nice kill from Solar Bear right there, ×2. But even though they fell, Team Synonymous will be decently happy with their final placement in Game 1. 12th place and a couple kills to their name, so it's not the end of the world, but we do see Solar Bear repositioning. Oh, beautiful shot, but it doesn't quite connect, as now he's going to take cover behind this rock and continue shelling out this artillery. Still nothing really landing, but Solar Bear just applying pressure from distance on all of these squads. We are down to single digits here, so this could be any fight can crack into that final engagement. That third party just starts getting triggered by that first engagement. We'll see who takes it.
Oh yeah, and that's something really exciting in element qualifiers versus any other competitive scene or anything I've ever seen is really the players, they take their time. Oh, the jump hop flick to the face on top of the mountain, 75 damage with the frost. But usually these players take their time, they play it smart, and they get down to that small circle with so many people alive, and it's just utter chaos and mayhem, and they really have to figure out where their place is and how to make it through it. But right now, Solar Bear is one of those players that always knows where his place is and how to play it. He takes the role of a sniper, he makes himself hard to get to, and he hits those shots when he needs to, and that's going to be a great asset on any squad, especially with a player like Maju doing his thing on the toxicology. It's going to be a great front line, in your face, shotgun, stealthy type class, and just going to be a great pairing with this Frostborn. We take a look in the kill feed, and it looks like our console players will come through and make it to that top 10 or top 6 situation here, but we'll go down, our top 5 situation, I'm sorry, we'll go down eventually to Cam and Elpa Dog by that Runic Dream Team. 7 players remain, as it looks like Solar Bear and Maju do try to set up shop in a pretty good position here, has a decent high ground, and it's going to be able to look in with some safe shots. But what's going on? Oh my God, the action is popping off plays. Woo.
Yeah, Team Runic Dreams just does not stop the aggression as you see Cam Sucks and Elpadog working together to absolutely wipe this team. And now looking at the remaining players, it should be one duo versus this team of Elpadog and Cam Sucks, and then a single player who got left behind. We see Elpadog looking for these last remaining enemies, trying to take this shot, sees multiple arrows coming his way, but he has no fear as he just cocks back and takes a shot, doesn't quite connect. But we'll see this final fight break down, and Elpadog Cam Sucks looking so comfortable right now.
Oh yeah, just beautiful gameplay. We swapped over. We got to see it for just a second as Elpa just rained down the frost from behind, and Cam just came up to the face with those toxic slaps. Beautiful gameplay. And now we see him, like you said, Elpa just doesn't care. He's not afraid, and he's up there trying to make it a noise. He's trying to make some, get some action coming his way. And I think it's because these players know very well that they have the best position in the map. Like you said, there's only 5 people remaining. It's a 2v1 situation, and Elpa and Cam has the high ground position. Anybody that wants to fight these players are going to have to make their way up and really get punished for that, for their trouble. And it looks like the frost will be coming out as it flicks right through that flash freeze and the tornado. 56 damage as this player goes down to less than 5 HP, and that would Maju falling to the hands of Cam Sucks. But it looks like Cam's going very, very low, and Elpa has to come through with that spring step to back him up a little bit. But wait a second, Cam is still alive. This is one of the most important things that you could have as a player on your squad. If your teammate gets low, if they could somehow bait, if they could somehow kite, if they can somehow survive long enough for you to come through and really take advantage of your opponent's focus on them, you can really come through and do things just like this as Elpa Dog comes through and smacks the back of the remaining player there. It's a 1v1 situation, and it looks like Elpa is going to go make it happen here.
Yeah, we got that clean 1v1 for game 1 of the duos qualifier number 3. Elpadog cocking back, hits a 39 damage, but takes a lot of damage on the return. They both trade here. We'll see Elpadog connecting again. This is a Frostborn master as he hits a 66. One more shot will give the kill, and Elpadog will win this game for Team Runic Dreams if he can finish it off. His opponent is trying desperately, but oh my goodness. Elpadog does not miss no matter the situation. You see it right there, back-to-back-to-back shots, and none of them were easy.
That's one of the things that I love about Frostborn, Frost Gauntlets, period. Such a high risk, high reward, and that leads to such satisfying results. And I got to say, in this particular matchup, in this particular 1v1, we see Elpa Dog go through against the Stone Shaper, or at least a primarily stone-using player. And one thing that I always say is the floor is lava, and the one thing that can combat lava is ice. So we're going to go back and see that replay and see exactly what happened and break it down, as it looks like Elpa Dog does hit every single shot, quick flicks to the face over and over 55 damage from everyone, 66 there. And right there's what I was about to kind of get on, is you see the shockwaves coming out and you see it coming really, really close, but Elpa is able to jump up and give himself that perch in the sky up off the ground and just do that damage safely. And man, oh man, does he ever do the damage, popping off, as it looks like Runic Dreams will come through and take round 1 of these qualifiers. But that's what I expected plays. These are great players, and that was a lot of fun.
And when you watch that replay, none of those snipes were easy shots. He made angles for himself with Spring Step Rune and the hover on Frostborn. An absolute performance from Elpadog in game 1. We have a event on our hands here, Timmy. That was just the first match of the day. We still got 5 more to go. Sorry, the math is not on after those shots hit.
Oh, yeah, and I don't blame you. I'm pretty sure everybody's trying to figure out what's going on after that. But definitely some awesome plays coming through. I think that we got to see a little bit of the duo teamwork that I was excited to see. Hopefully we get to see it more as qualifier plays out. But definitely a lot of times where you've seen this tag team mentality where you have a frontline player, you have a backline player, and whenever somebody gets low, they kind of try to back them up. And you just see a really, really beautiful example of that with Elpa and Cam Sucks. They've been playing for a long time, like we said. They know how the show goes. They know how it all works. And in the end, we saw that superior experience coming through as they were already on the high ground. They already had the mountain. By the time that final circle was chosen, they were there. They were the king of the castle, and anybody that wanted to take the dub had to challenge their control. And that's what they wanted. They were ready for it. And in the end, although Cam Sucks did fall, Elpa Dog had to step up. He stepped up in a big way, and I think it was a big part into due to positioning, in the end.
I mean, you brought up a great point when the fight was happening, Timmy. You were talking about how Cam Sucks was buying time. Even though he was so low, he managed to stay alive, use that Tempest mobility to buy more time for Elpadog to find angles, to build up that final fight. So great job all around from Team Runic Dreams. Elpadog did have the flashy pop-off, but it was a team performance in game 1. They will win that one. We got more games to go. We should be dropping in shortly. Any predictions you want to throw out before we get into game 2? Do you think Runic Dreams will pull out another surgical performance like that, or will it be more contested?
I think that they're definitely going to have more issues. I think people are waking up. That first game is kind of, you kind of got to realize you jump into the cold water. You're like, oh, okay, all right. I'm in a qualifier. I'm playing Element. This is real stuff. So second round, we might see people coming through with their eyes open a little bit wider and really just gripping that keyboard or controller. But it's definitely going to be a bigger fight. I think that we already saw a great performance coming out from Itchy Boy Ross and Crashy on Synonymous. I expect to see more of that happen. I think they are incredible players, and I really expect to see them come through and even perform better and better as the qualifier goes on. Solar Bear and Maju, just incredible as well. I think, unfortunately, that for them, they got in a little bit of a rough position toward the end and couldn't recover. But Solar Bear, just like I said, one of those players that you can see on every team, as I was calling the Sentinel. He can set up shop in one spot, and he can take those shots. If anybody gets close to him, he can deal with it on his own, and that's what you want from your back line. And not only that, he can survive. He's a survivor. And like we just said with Cam Sucks, surviving is one of the most important things because it buys time for your teammate to either heal or to take advantage of the focus that you've bought. And that's the reason we see every team that Solar Bear's on usually performing pretty well and placing pretty well in every type of qualifier. So we'll see what happens from that team moving forward into these lobbies, but I'm expecting a lot more fun as always.
Yeah, those are all great points. And I just want to remind everybody in chat as we go through the next games, if you want to check on the scores, please enter the Element Discord, go to the bot channel and hit that ! help. It'll give you a full list of commands. You can either select the specific team you want to check on. You can look at the whole team as a board. It's up to you. Keep track of your favorite players as we go through the rest of these games. And to start us off, Runic Dreams taking that game 1, but there was a lot of action, a lot of contestation that you were talking about right there. So we'll see how game 2 starts off. There was a lot of fighting as well. And in the scrims for duos, we had a little bit more separation. I'm excited to see those early fights just get cracking right away.
Agree. I was honestly a little bit surprised by the amount of players we had in the end. It kind of we got to the final circle. It went really fast. We had a 1v1 situation. It was kind of contradictory to what I had said earlier, where, in a lot of the element qualifiers, whether it's duos or squads, you have a lot of players that make it to that final circle, a lot of crazy mayhem because of the intelligence, the game sense of these players, the ability to reposition and bring that player back to life and reset. And so many times you might lose half of your team, but find a way to bring them back. And by the time you get to the end, you have all these squads ready to fight it out in these small circle. I always call it a small cage for some big animals, and that's just like the way that I see it. But this time we had a very small amount of players, only a 1v1, like I said, and it was kind of an easy, I wouldn't say easy, but a more comfortable situation for both players remaining. I'm not sure if we'll see that going forward. I expect to see a little bit more chaos and mayhem, like I said, but you made a really great point of the Tempest. I think we've seen some pyromancers, we've seen some stone shapers, we've seen some toxicologists on the front line, but I think one of the classes that might be most beneficial is Tempest for that evasiveness, like being able to get up there. You can throw up that big toxic slap or whatever you have as your secondary and do that big damage when the opportunity arises. But for the most part, you can be evasive, jump around, have them chase you while your back line does whatever they need to do with whatever they have. And I did like to see that Tempest come through and show that survivability and show the power of that. And it just kind of shows you the depth of Spellbreak. It just, there's more. Every time I watch Element, I learn more about the game. And I've been playing for 2 years. It's insane. This is the place to be, you guys.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we are just about to drop in for game 2. Apologize for the slightly longer break between games. And we will be moving on through this event. Remember that this is the last qualifier, the last shot for these teams to place into the finals for this Duo Cash Cup. So this is a lot of pressure on these players. I know some of them don't feel it. A lot of these people are experienced Spellbreak veterans, so maybe they won't shake them at all. But at the same time, Timmy, the pressure builds up. And as you get farther, as you start playing through these games, teams like Runic Dreams might feel great after that win. But if you're another team who did not place as high, the pressure starts to mount. You need to have pop-off games if you want to put yourself in that shooting top 5.
Oh yeah, and not to just, we usually do it. It's always for fun and bragging rights a lot of times. But tonight we have, we're going to have big prizes on the line when you get into the tournament. So we might see a little bit more pressure, a little bit more drive to get that done. But here we go. Speaking of drive, a shockwave driving to the feet of Crashy as he does go down quite low in this early interaction. Another one being able to come through from the back, and now Crash should be desperately trying to find some place to get away, maybe some high ground, using this structure very, very well to kind of bait his opponent around, and now some nice little wind shears to the face of this Fate Weaver skin that is going down very, very low, able to come around the corner and back his teammate Ross up a little bit as Ross kind of comes through to try to help Crashy out. In the end, the shockwaves will be too much for Crashy as he does go down to Orb form, and now we got Ross on Frostborn. Definitely not the class that you want in these early engagements, but Ross is here and is a teammate, no man left behind, as he is there to try to protect Crashy. And it looks like he will be able to come through with a big, I think, was that a boater? A boater coming through from Ross to smack Lash out in the face. And now it looks like Ross has taken control of this situation. Kimmit Raw TTV going very, very low, down to less than 30 HP. And it looks like Ross is coming through, and it's almost anybody's fight right here. If anybody gets tagged with one of those shockwaves, it will be the end. And it looks like Ross jumps up and takes advantage of a little little bit of a bad decision. Kimmett jumps down, tries to get that potion off, desperately wanted a little bit more armor to fight with, knew that he was close to death, but in the end, the aggression is what won that confrontation, and Ross comes through as the hero for that team, but the action has not stopped. Let's jump back over into the Halcyon area and see what's going on with Runic Dreams.
Yeah, Camsucks is fighting one-on-one with his teammate off to the wing. We'll see how this one goes as he keeps on pushing this opponent, trying to land these fireballs and toxic slaps. You see a couple go here. A lot of damage coming out from Camsucks. Finishes the kill, and that was on to Alicia X Life. Soth went down to Elpadog, so that team will fall to Runic Dreams early in game 2. We'll see if they can carry this momentum. And I just wanted to mention in that first fight, so interesting, was It's Your Boy Ross using that Stone Gauntlet repeatedly. His opponent seemed to forget that he has that Ice primary, pops up and snipes him right in the face to finish the kill, and we got a good start to game 2, Timmy.
Oh, yeah, it just shows you the experience, the knowledge of the game, knowing exactly what you have in your toolkit and exactly what each tool does well and using it to execute, and that's what we saw from Ross. I'm not surprised. Honestly, Ross is one of the better players that I know. I honestly think he would be one of the top players if he had more time to play. Unfortunately, he does have to work like, us grown-ups do, but he does come through and always puts up a good show, and I love seeing Ross come through here with Crashy. Great team, and we'll see what happens as we do see Elpadog and Runic Dreams taking down the Cutie Patooties early on, and they're in the Halcyon area. Very, I got to give a shout out to anybody that lands in Halcyon in a qualifier or in a tournament. It's always usually a hot drop, and even more so in here, it's kind of like, you want to drop down there, you want to control that area, you want to look for yourself. So it's going to be a fight out with a squad no matter what. And it looks like, unfortunately for Cutie Patootie, it was Runic Dreams for them this time. But we're going to jump back in to see our console players come through. And Blaze Trap is down. What's happening here?
Yeah, Trap went down well. Generic was reading a scroll, and now it looks like he is next to fall. That is Solar Bear and his squad mate Maju taking the kill right there. So all these teams that performed well last game are off to a hot start again in game 2. The momentum is keeping up here. As you see, Camsucks gets another kill right as we mention it. 26 players left in the game, Timmy. So while the action has been constant on screen, it's not an overwhelming amount of exiles. We still should see a big final circle like we saw in game 1.
Oh, definitely. I want to see. I mean, you definitely have, like you said, there's a lot of these players that kind of were popping off in the last round, and they're already, it feels like they're carrying that momentum. They're carrying that aggression. The gas pedal is pushed down. They're ready to fight. I really love to see this in a competitive scene. And very, very interesting to see Maju and Solar Bear coming through. I see Maju now has this really like damage orienting build, up in your face build. Going to be able to use that rune fluency to get right up in your face with whatever rune he chooses to use. Most likely Shadow Step if he can find it. But he's also got that fervor and that recklessness that will be able to just throw out so much DPS so quickly. But right now we need some DPS coming out from Gay Pineapples, as it looks like Dork will go down, and now Gay Pineapples desperately trying to be the hero for this team. Throws out a beautiful boulder from above head that was allotted to him by the beautiful spring step that's on hand. Nice epic spring step. Going to be able to use it to get away from these opponents as well. Once again, has to leave their teammate. Dork will fall as the toxicologist will go down. 0 exiles picked up by Gay Pineapples, but it looks like he will live to fight another day at least, making his way into the Halcyon area and should be able to reset just fine. And from now on, it looks like it's going to be a solo game for Gay Pineapples. Dork, we will remember you. Good try. But it looks like there's still a lot of action in the kill feed as we move in. 25 players remain, and right now it's a little bit of people trying to get some loot, kind of chance encounters, kind of trimming the fat until we get down to the saturated version of skilled players in these lobbies. But right now it looks like Elpa will not stop, takes another exile in the kill feed, and only 22 players remain. Place.
Yeah, Runic Dreams definitely playing aggressive all throughout this lobby, never stopping the pressure, it seems, as we see their names constantly in the kill feed. And Gay Pineapples is still getting chased here. He does get shocked, doesn't have that Harmony to help him out, so he's going to have to take that CC on the neck. Goes down and tries to fight this 1v2. He's in a good spot, but another player TP's behind him. Gay Pineapples now just surrounded, trying to move out of this fight as fast as he can. Spring Step on the low cooldown will help with that, but another player pops up in front of him, and he cannot get away from these chasing opponents. It looks like he might benefit from another team that he runs into, creating such a mess that Gay Pineapples might be able to slip out, Timmy, if he's so lucky.
Oh, I gotta say, nice shockwaves. Been able to connect very well. Was actually able to deal out some damage while he kited and kind of got away. But like you said, he did get that very lucky distraction coming in in the form of a third party, and will be able to breathe for a second and reset. But wait a second, what? Okay, steady 1MF going down out of the game from Elpadog as he lands a Frost Lance over the top of the rock. We've seen it happen, but I think it was magic. I don't know what happened. Cam Sucks going into that beautiful, beautiful upwards, backwards, vanishing mist movement, and right down into the face of this opponent with slap after slap from the Toxic Gauntlet. That will be Case of Beer going down, and now the pressure coming in onto Cam Sucks. Looks like he still has full HP and, you know, a decent amount of armor. Throws out a nice little Toxic Cloud. Does not make a connect, but definitely denies a bit of area and prevents that player from going in that direction. Keeps him coming right up into the clutches of these two monsters. It looks like Elpadog comes through to back him up as the cavalry does get taken out there, but does do what he needs to do to be the distraction that Cam Sucks needed to come through with a nice little fireball to the back, and that will secure the exile onto Cherry Time and Case of Beer. Really beautiful gameplay and beautiful teamwork yet again. 5 exiles already picked up on the scoreboard for Cam Sucks, and it looks like it might be another Runic Dream. Are we all Runic Dreaming right now? I don't know. Wake me up, please. What's going on?
Well, it looks like Elpadog's ready to keep slapping players awake as he keeps moving up. Cam Sucks with the legendary belt and amulet, no fear in his heart as he's just taking this high ground, trying to challenge someone to come fight him, throwing out that DF, just dealing as much damage as he can. Even though nothing is quite landing, the pressure is there. Digs into a fortitude up opponent, so he has to be a little bit careful. Elpadog is on the backside of this, but it looks like Runic Dreams has just decided to hold this house, make sure that they can control an area as Cam Sucks goes in for the assassination. The opponent gets away, but not far enough, as Adrian Shimmer will fall to Cam Sucks. He is just feasting in game 2.
Oh my gosh, and I gotta say, I really, really love it. Just took a look at his talent build. He's got Escapist on this Toxicologist. Escapist. And that's not for running away, that's for running you down. Beautiful, beautifully placed Toxic Cloud as it gets instantly exploded into that DF explosion that we all love to see. It's so shiny and green. Ninja Mom 112 going down as the toes get tickled by that Toxicologist. That's right, TTT, I did it. Now Elpadog coming through to give a little bit of backup, but instead gets a little bit punished for his trouble, going down to very low HP and no armor on hand. And now we see an Alacrity Shell coming through as a Frostborn skates into the scene, and this third party is going to be very, very upsetting for the Runic Dream team. Looks like Cam Sucks is going to come through and try to bring his teammate back to life, and it might make it happen. Fireball's coming from down below, but he's committed. He's committed. He takes the shots, goes down very, very low for his trouble. Beautiful repositioning with that dash, but oh no, it looks like it might not have been the correct move as Elpadog is alive now, but with not a lot of HP. Spellbreak coming through with an exile onto Cam really sucks, and it looks like he will be in that orb form for now, but I do not think it will be secured at this point, as there is a lot of action and probably plenty of distractions there for Elpa and Cam Sucks to be able to come back through, but a lot of crazy mayhem on this little tower here plays.
Yeah, well, that is a teammate right there. Cam Sucks sticking it out, even picking up Elpadog through the fire and the storm right there. He will go down. Well, hopefully he will get picked up. As you mentioned, Elpadog will have a little bit of chaos to work through and maybe get that res. But we see Clockwise trying to do something similar, but he's getting pegged. Got to be careful as that storm will also be doing ticks, and this opponent will not let you get away with it. Clockwise should fall almost definitely here as both these players are surrounding him. That is Maju, a.k.a. representing Praise the Sun, taking yet another kill. And Solar Bear and his teammate Maju into a really great run here in game 2.
Oh yeah, I can feel the energy from this team right here. I can feel the momentum. They are on it. Maju is like, Maju feels it right now. I can feel his energy. He is popping off the aggression. He goes straight for the hill. He's going right in for the exile here, pushing in to make sure that teammate does not get revived. And now Solar Bear also in it. I love it. We got our Frostborn in there going straight into the face. Aggressive play coming through. And this team is in it to win it right now, ladies and gentlemen. As far as I'm concerned, this might be the squad to beat at this point. Solar Bear coming through with a nice Frost Lance as Autumn tries to run and tries to escape, but there's nowhere to go as the monsters will get you. Solar Bear and Maju looking very, very strong here. I'd like to see some more talents picked up, but so far the loot is really, really nice. Has that beautiful legendary Shadow Step with that Runic Fluency. Going to be able to get right in your face, reposition, and get multiple outbreak buffs from that Toxicologist. But wait a second. Wait. He spotted somebody. He was creeping around. He was hiding under the shadows. Somebody kind of just keeping an eye on what was going on, but didn't want to get involved. But it looks like you can't take a look without getting into the action. And Maju says, hey, I see you. Get back here. Slap to the face. And now this player is running for their life plays.
Yeah, and he called up the backup. You see Solar Bear with the cavalry coming in to help out Maju after he spotted that potting opponent. We'll see the chase down happen here. Maju still hasn't been touched. And look at that. Elpadog actually seems to have taken the kill right from out of Maju's hands. But Maju will try to get his revenge. He will try to finish Elpadog. We didn't see Cam Sucks' name pop up again, but we know he's down now as Elpadog insta-exiled. No disruption. That is Runic Dreams out of this game as we see Maju PTS keeping up the pressure. Arnando B will fall, single digits left in this game, and Solar Bear is not done yet. Running up face first into this opponent. We got Maju on the back throwing in those shots as well, trying to do as much damage as they can to multiple targets. We see another team fall to Praise the Sun, and as you said, Timmy, they are the ones to beat in game 2.
Oh my gosh, looking so good, but I do have to make a short correction. That's actually Elpadog is actually going to be able to come through and get a double exile for himself. Maju will be able to take out Gay Pineapples though. That was Gay Pineapples and Halcyon. Elpa's still alive here. 6 players still in this HoloLens, and Maju going very, very low as it looks like he's going to be have to retreat back to the back line and hope for the Cavalry Solar Bear to come through. But Cavalry going down very, very low as well. Now onto the Alacrity Trail as Maju tries to get away and use that speed boost, but it worked against him as the Lightning was there on the ice and shocked him into submission. But wait a second, Crashy and it's your boy Ross still alive. 0 exiles on the scoreboard for Crashy, but they are completely fully healed, fully armored up, and they are in a small circle full of 6 players. At least one of them is Elpadog by himself, and Crashy and Ross coming through to put up a big disruption to what's going on in this lobby. Maju going down here, and his Solar Bear will be the only one left alive. Like I said, he's a survivor. The last time we saw him, he was very, very low, and Crashy and Ross is controlling this game right now. Plays. What's going on? How?
Look at the movement from Crashy, though. You saw him sidestep a lot of those corrosion puddles, and now he's just trying to do what he can onto his opponent, throwing out the shockwaves and lightning bolts all over. His teammate Itsy Boy Ross is on the backside, and as you said, they have the health advantage, it seems, in this final fight, but can they translate it into a W? Maju is still in here, and Elpadog will finally fall to him from Praise the Sun. We'll see Crashy with the flick. Getting Cam does suck to go down. We see the rest of this fight just unrolling in front of us. Crashy will fall. Maju and Solar Bear are working this final 2v2. It's your boy Ross is down to his last flicks, and he might just go, but the invis frame is not enough. Maju, representing Praise the Sun, will win game 2 with his teammate Solar Bear. What a set of games. A complete flip from game 1.
Wow. So Elpadog survived, somehow brought Cam Sucks back to life. They were both alive in that final circle. There at the last second, we saw Maju go down to Crashy, but somehow in that small area, Solar Bear was able to come through and revive Maju again. Maju comes back to life, and Maju and Solar Bear take the dub on the Crashy and Ross. I got to say, when I saw Ross and Crashy come out of the woodworks at that last circle, fully healed, fully ready to fight. Small little area. In my head, I thought Elpa was by himself. Maju went down. I thought, this is it. The game is over. Crashy and Ross wins. But somehow these players are so smart. They take advantage of every little distraction that they have in front of them, and they were able to revive their teammates. Elpadog coming back from what would look like an insane mayhem at the tower earlier on the game. Maju coming back in a tiny little confined area as Solar Bear not only survives with less than 15 HP, but finds a way to bring his teammate back in for the dub. I'm sorry. I'm so excited. That was incredible. Solar Bear and Maju coming through. Praise the Sun with a beautiful dub, and also a nice little place in my heart forever.
Yeah, that was a huge performance, and I'm glad you brought up that correction because I thought Elpadog went down, but in fact, he was just sniping from distance, not even in the fray, managing with his teammate to go even further. They did fall. The win goes to Praise the Sun, but what a close final fight, and I'm with you. When I saw Crashy and It's Your Boy Ross, especially Crashy on the perspective of our cam, just landing so many lightning bolts, I was like, this is ready to go. Wrap it up. Let's see Team Synonymous take it, but the quick turn, the fast 2v2, all the damage in the game, Spellbreak right now has so much burst damage. You can really flip a fight as we see there in game 2. And we got one more game, then we will take a 10-minute halftime break and follow it up with 3 more matches. I can't even believe we've only seen 2 games though, Timmy. It feels like this casting has just been going crazy.
Oh, it's so exciting. I mean, it's easy to give the energy out. It's easy to get excited when you have players come through and putting on good shows and really, really fighting it out and showing you what Spellbreak is all about. I always tell people, check out the Element Discord, ! Discord in the chat. Join up. Make sure you're involved with the qualifiers, the scrims, the tournaments. And even if you're not a player, even if you don't want to participate as somebody that's in the game, just check out the YouTube. The YouTube channel has awesome recaps of the qualifiers, the scrims, and I think when you get to see these players play Spellbreak, you really see what Spellbreak has to offer. You really get to see what's special about Spellbreak: the combat, the fluidity of the movement, the depth of the team compositions. Like, people that don't watch this don't even know. So seeing that kind of stuff gets me excited. It gets me excited about the future of Spellbreak, and I'm just grateful to have Element doing what they do, and grateful for these players coming out and doing what they do, and grateful for the chat coming through to give us the love and the energy back. So thank you guys for being here. But like Play says, we're going to move on into our third round very shortly, but I'm excited to see what you think might happen. I think Crashy and Itchy Boy Ross, in the first round, for me, they were really going strong. They fought it out. They were aggressive, and they got some exiles. The second round, they played it a little bit safer, a little bit more passively. They made it farther in the round, but in the end, they fell. So maybe if we get a mixture of that coming into round 3, they might have a little bit more success. But hey, they made it into third spot, and they got respect for that.
Yeah, that's 2 games in a row where even though they didn't win, Team Synonymous with some good placement, some good fights to get to where they got in those first 2 matches. But I want to quickly go back to what you were talking about, how competitive Spellbreak shows you what is possible and how exciting it is. All we would need to do is show that clip of Cam Sucks just eating in the center of Halcyon, and people are going to want to play the game. I'm telling you right now. But we got one more game to go before that halftime break. Tons of action. And as I said after the first game, make sure you're in the Discord so you can check the scores, see where your favorite teams and players are placing. And we'll see what we got coming out in game 3. I'm excited. It seems like these teams are really trading blows. No definitive dominant squad so far.
Yep. So far, we had a win from Runic Dream on round 1. Did a great job. Really positioned well. Praise the Sun coming through with a really clutch revive and great teamwork. But what's going to happen in the third round? I really am excited. I think that I was interested to see how often we would see the rune teleport, because of the recent adjustments to teleport. They made it a little bit more efficient, a little bit more effective. And I've actually seen several content creators that says, hey, TP is the new wave. TP is what people are going to be using. I think we saw one engagement there where a player was fighting 2 players, then one of them TP'd, and all of a sudden he was pinched in between both of them. I think that kind of play could be incredible. And duos and squad play could open more opportunities to make TP work if you can use it reliably. So I'm interested to see how that goes. And I'm also interested to see if I don't know if we've really noticed any more action around the elemental shrines that were recently added to the game. But that's definitely going to be something to think about, knowing that there's 6 areas on the map that spawn automatically with the rare version of their respected element. Then, maybe people are going to go and say, all right, our front line guy is a pyromancer. I want to make sure that I give him a toxic gauntlet as soon as possible. So we're going to go down and we're going to get that toxic shrine and we're going to control that. I don't know if we've really seen that a lot. I think we've seen some fights early on there from Ross and Crashy, if I'm not mistaken, dropped around the stone shrine, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm definitely interested to see if that continues on and we have more action around those points of interest.
Yeah, that's a great point. I do think, though, that these players are so good and they know their rotations so well. They know where every chest is in the game practically, that even if you don't hit that specific shrine, you're quite likely to find that gauntlet you want, unless the RNG gods are just completely against you. And we have certainly seen that before with some of these top players rolling into final fights with common gauntlets on their primary. Just brutal situations. But I don't know exactly if it's going to translate into more fights around these elemental shrines. I'm hard pressed to say it won't. I think players are just stuck to what they do on their rotations. They have these map movements that they like, and maybe an elemental shrine's on the way. But we'll see exactly what comes out through in game 3, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see some more action. None of these games have disappointed so far, Timmy. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. It's always great to see these guys come through and play well and play together as a team. I'm always anxious also to, and I implore you guys in the chat or people watching on YouTube later to make sure you keep an eye on the talent builds and stuff from these players. They get really, really creative with what they try to do. Any kind of edge they can get in these tournaments, they really push these builds and kind of show you exactly what can be done with the talent system in Spellbreak. I think for a lot of new players, they don't understand or they don't expect the depth of the talent system and kind of how it augments or like makes stronger whatever play style you choose for your class. But I think one of the things that kind of surprises me is I'm seeing some builds and some talents used that are optimal for this setting, like a duo setting, that I don't see in a lot of other ones. Things like Escapist on that front line. I think right now I'm seeing a lot of choices between, do we make our front line a super aggressive, very fast player with Escapist and Runic Fluency and Fervor, stuff like that? Or do we try to make sure that they are more sustainable? Put them with the Stone Shaper, give them something like Thirsty, give them something like Dexterity, or something that makes them kind of a little bit more tanky. And I'm seeing a lot more kind of evasive builds kind of show up. But there's definitely some Stone Shapers in here doing some things. But I think that's what I'm excited a lot about these guys. Just keeping an eye on their talent builds, keeping an eye on how they play the game, because it's not only fun, it's also educational if you're trying to get better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing, if we're talking about stuff that has been surprising us, is Frostborn. I mean, I know the players. I saw the players before this event, and if I didn't have name cards and I didn't know that Elpadog and Solar Bear were playing, I would not expect to see Frostborn so prevalent. But this is multiple final circles, both that we've seen so far. It's Frostborn's making some decisive plays in those games. So that's something that kind of took me off guard. I'm loving to see it. Frostborn is such an exciting class with such a high skill ceiling. So we'll see if that continues. I think it will, considering the players we got in this game. But Game 3 coming up. Sorry for the long break. We're just trying to get into this next duo lobby, and we'll get it cracking soon, Timmy.
Oh, yeah. I'm also excited. When you think about duos, you think about squads, and you think about Spellbreak, for a lot of people, I think they think about the elemental interactions. There's a lot of different things that you can do in terms of teamwork. And surprisingly, you don't see as much elemental interactions being choreographed or kind of set up in these matches as you would kind of expect. However, I'm not for sure if it was intentional or not, but with Crashy, it could have been, because he thinks about the game so deep and theory crafts. But if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw Ross shooting some shots with his Frost, laying down the Alacrity Trail, and then Crashy shocking the trail to get CC off. So just think about if you could effectively use that. You could long range CC players. So if you have your back line on Frost, he shoots a shot over, even if he doesn't miss. I mean, even if he doesn't connect, if the Alacrity Trail makes it to the area of the opponent, then your Conduit player could potentially zap that trail, CC them. If TP's on hand, TP in to a stunned opponent, and you can see some incredible gameplay. Obviously, there's a little bit more chaos going on. It's hard to set up plays like that, but there's potential for it there. And like I said, I'm not for sure if that was intentional or not. But if it was, big shout out to Crashy and Ross. I would love to see more elemental interactions and more plays set up like that. I think you get a little bit of passive elemental action set up between a pyromancer and a toxicologist or something, where they kind of get these DFs going off all the time. Like, as a toxicologist, knowing you have a pyromancer on your team, you might be willing to throw out that cloud knowing that it's most likely going to be DF exploded. And that might just be like a passive team interaction that you're going that works for you. But I would like to see more intentional set up, thought through things like what we might have seen from Crashy and Ross, for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, how do you combine your elements together? How do you make it work? And we saw some other interesting interactions. I know it's a little bit obscure, but I saw in Game 2 when Camsux was being chased, he had a ton of knowledge potions in his belt, so he was able to just pop himself up, throw a cloud, freeze it, and run in front of it to use that as a line of sight blocker. That may have been in Game 1, actually, when I reflect on it. But things like that are what these competitive players do just by nature. They practice so much. They just do it off instinct. But when you're watching it as someone who doesn't play a lot of comp or doesn't play a lot of Spellbreak in general, it looks crazy. It looks completely made up. But they know these interactions. They know how to use them to their advantage like we see in these games. And that's a great point. So something to keep an eye on for everybody at home. And also remember to check those scores. We are just dropping in. The break was long. I hope you enjoyed me and Timmy talking it out here between Game 2 and 3. And we'll get started very soon. And I'm hoping to see Runic Dreams come through with some aggression once again. I definitely expect them to always stay on top of their W key mentality.
Definitely. I think that we're going to see that. I think you'll get exactly what you want to see from Runic Dreams. I think you'll see exactly what you want to see from Praise the Sun. I think that Synonymous is out here really working. I think that Crashy and Ross, I think they're really working. I think they came into the qualifier prepared. I think they're great players. And I think after each round, they're going back and they're talking and they're saying, how can we improve? How can we do better? So I think that we're going to see improvement from every round. So we'll see what happens in round 3. But I would love to see the cutie patootie show up. I want to see, in my head, every time there's an exile from Alicia, she's dancing and having a good time. And, and that just makes me happy. So I want to see cutie patooties come through and pop up a little more, like you said earlier, as a fellow caster. And as somebody that was a creator that's kind of come back to the community recently a little bit, it's definitely awesome to see you. Shout out, Alicia. Thanks for coming through. Hopefully you're having a good time. But we're going to jump down in and have a great time as the match has begun, plays.
And we're getting right to the last round's winners. Praise the Sun, Maju, and Solar Bear already working through this maze, trying to get whatever loot they can. And it's interesting to see them start this map. I don't think we've seen them off their drop. And I don't know if this is what they've been chain dropping every game, but this is interesting. I wasn't expecting as many comp players to drop through this maze. It's not a super popular area, but it looks like Praise the Sun has taken it as their home. And looking at the kill feed as well, quickly we see Gay Pineapples representing Dork Apples getting a kill onto Spaghetti 2.
Nice. A little bit of early action, but not too much, and very, very interesting area. Like you said, this is a maze place. I mean, I guess if you kind of get the surrounding areas, there's a little bit of loot here, but I'm very surprised to see it. There's a mana vault close by, so maybe they're looking into that. But we're going to hop on over as it looks like the action has not stopped for a second for Gay Pineapples and Dork. Dork going down a little bit low as he gets taken into a Toxic NATO, but it looks like Apple Dapple will get a little bit of a slapple and go down with that Toxic slap. Looking real easy. Feather fall on hand, definitely not what he wants, but right now it'll make it, it'll work, as it looks like they were able to pick up, I think, 4 exiles there in that area. Looks like Cutie Patooties in the mix, and they might get some stuff going on here. Alicia X Live punching the ground until it finally connects. Shockwave will be able to come through and secure that exile on the Mio. Alicia X Live, true Stone Shaper, just runs straight at her opponents and slams over and over until they just submit. P Baloma will fall, and that will be 1 exile apiece for Soft and Alexa Life, aka Cutie Patooties.
Yeah, and that is Team PBO plus MEO going down to Cutie Patootie. So a nice wipe from them. And we're getting right over to Runic Dreams now. Camsucks is posted up on this high ground trying to contest the area. You see Elpadog is so low as well. So Runic Dreams has to be careful with how they approach this fight. Checking hallways here. Camsucks looking out for his teammate, trying to make sure that he can spot out where these opponents are. Finds a little pocket full of loot. And that will be the full wipe. So they can just take this loot freely. He does have Recklessness as well. You talked about Escapist in between games, but Recklessness is also a talent that we don't see quite as much, but it can really flip a fight. And at the cost of just 1 point, I think we'll start seeing it more and more in these games.
Mm-hmm. And wait a second, what are we looking at here? Cam Sucks and Elpadog looks like they've completely traded places in their team composition. If I'm not mistaken, Cam was on the Tox call just earlier. Elpa was on the Frostborn on the back line, but now it looks like Elpa might be on that front line as the Tox, and we got Cam as a conduit on the backside. It's going to be a really strong back line class, to be honest with you. Very good medium to long range poke damage, and also, in my opinion, one of the strongest class skill sets in the game if you know how to use it properly. And I can tell you right now that Cam Sucks definitely knows how to use it properly, as they do go ahead and push on in. We see Ancient Generic showing up in that kill feed as our PlayStation 4 player will come through and take out Camille of Thick. Might have been a little bit of a cheeky third party pickup, but that is the name of the game. Flight being implemented to reposition, and now it looks like this player is trapped between Trap and Ancient Generic. Able to get out of there pretty decently, but Flight's doing a great job of keeping them kind of pinned in between there. It looks like it's going to be a 2v1 situation, but Ancient Generic not willing to push in even any further. I think that honestly, a little bit of aggression here from these players would have been an easy secure exile here, but it looks like they're going to be able to do it just fine, and now even safer, as they did take a second to heal up and breathe before they committed to that exile. That's why they're competitive players, and I'm a caster. They did the smart thing.
And we see the villains taking that kill right there onto both Kick and Wing and Camille of Thick. So nice start for them. That is 27 players left in this game. These two will benefit from all the loot left over as they look to rotate into the next circle. Shockwave LOL takes out Lash Out TTV, so that's another duo in this tournament engaging in some combat. We'll see if we can bounce around and find more of these fights, as this team is just comfortable to walk through, loot up, get some resources, and the key is stashing potions in the pocket, making sure that you're ready for any situation, because as we've seen over and over and over again, the resources get very slim the further you get into these games.
That's 100% right. And honestly, I always kind of attribute it to a very popular and almost important essential talent that a lot of people have is Thirsty. I mean, it gives you so much opportunity and value to reposition and get that health and armor back in the blink of an eye when you quick reset. But it also takes a lot of consumables, and unfortunately, it's going to be taking even more to survive this encounter, as it looks like Ancient Generic desperately tries to get away with flight, but just gets gobbled up by the team of It's Your Boy Ross and Crashy, aka Synonymous, now coming through to pick up the other player as a trap will go down very quickly with some lightning and some toxic to the back. Beautiful focus fire. Crashy and it was a 2v2 fight there. Crashy and Ross came through, and both players on both teams were still alive, but honestly, it felt like a 2v1 situation. Crashy and Ross cleaned up one, then they moved to the next one, they cleaned up the next one, and there was no really any way to fight back at that point. Great teamwork coming through, and some aggression as well. As we jump back over to Runic Dream, Maju popping off in the kill feed as well. Holy crap, what's going on here, Plays?
Yeah, all sorts of fights happening on the map, but we're focused on Camsucks and Elpadog working down on this opponent. Look at the lightning work from Camsucks, just keeping his focus straight on this opponent, drilling him with the fire now. And this should be a kill, just barely getting off that fireball, but the teleport avoids it. And now Camsucks will continue his chase. He knows that the other player is low, but this man is not. So Camsucks has to do what he can to throw down this damage. Elpadog is helping out as well off the back end. Shadow Step comes out. Camsucks does not avoid the boulder, actually runs into it. But now he's just drilling this opponent. Tanimon PE will fall, and his teammate is next to go. Elpadog and Camsucks looking so comfortable in this 2v2, finishing the wipe. 17 players left, and they will just be free to pot and take the next fight, Timmy.
I mean, just like textbook teamwork here. Just beautiful play. Cam just stand on top of this mound here, keeps it outside looking in perspective, throws out the lightning whenever it's available and it's easy to do. Gets in the face whenever he needs to with that dash to throw out some fireball. But in the end, he's just going to be able to really take that dub very easily by playing it well as a team and positioning himself in a helpful position. Programmer finding himself face to face with some fireballs, throws down some shockwaves, will get the better end of this engagement, but does lose all of his armor and going down pretty low on that HP. Has to jump back to try to find a little bit of sanctuary to recover and a little bit of a line of sight cover here, as his teammate on Conduit will have to step up and be that front line. But we see that rune TP, and this is not the first time or the first player in this lobby using it. It looks like we're going to get a lot more use of the TP to be able to reposition, reset very easily, get back to your backup whenever you need to in case you get a little bit low. And it's going to be working out just fine here for Programmer 66 and Arnando. Coming through, 17 players are all that remains, and there's a lot of action nearby.
Yeah, we'll see what Programmer can do here. Taking some fireball shots into the wing. This is a full-fledged fight that they're about to get a nice third-party angle onto. Let's see what they can do with it. Programmer 69 misses both of these crucial shots. His flight rune is off cooldown, but he does want to hold it. Misses that air shot that would have been massive for him as he now just chases down this next opponent. Can he finally get something to go? The Frost Sorcery comes out to block some more damage. Programmer 69 just engaged in this full 2v2 now. It looked like such a good third-party angle, but it has been flipped on its head as it's a clean 2v2. Multiple teams scrapping it out here. Programmer 69 getting back up onto the high ground, throwing out those boulders, but nothing doing. And I don't know about this fight anymore, Timmy. They are overextended. They're trying their best to clean up whatever third party they can, but Maju says, that's my kill, and praise the sun with more exile, more scorecards to put up onto their rack.
That last lobby really gave them all the fuel they needed to just really just go pedal to the metal and pop off, and that is exactly what we're doing as we see Maju over and over and over in that kill feed. We see Programmer 69 there using that flight room quite effectively, repositioned in such great positions over and over there. Had really great third-party potential, but unfortunately could not connect with those fireballs a few times, and in the end put himself in a kind of a difficult situation. If I were them, I would consider maybe repositioning to a high ground. They know that there's more players around. They know there's some chaos. They know that this is where the party's at. So they got to get ready to throw down because it's going to be some action coming their way soon. And definitely, since they could not secure any of those exiles, they're going to have to figure out a way to get into this next fight and throw down against Maju and Solar Bear, who seems to be taking everybody out of the game. Alicia likes life. We got caster on caster action as Alicia does go down to Crashy. We pop over to see Soft going up in the air, using that Firefly ability the best that he can to get away and buy some cover here in the form of line of sight. Now going down into the bush, and that is not the way. Nice little shadow step to get out of the damage from the sorcery at the last second, but it looks like up in the air and nowhere to go except for in the crosshair of the lightning strikes, and that will be the end of the game for the cutie patooties, as it looks like Crashy comes through and does a lot of work with that lightning and toxic. Beautiful play, and I told you guys, keep an eye on Synonymous because they are looking real strong right here in this great position on top of the hill.
Yeah, nice kills coming out there from Crashy. You just saw how the second those opponents pop themselves up out of line of sight, he just beams them with that Toxic Lightning combination. Now we see Dork Apples, who've had a solid event so far. This is game 3. We'll see how they can translate into this game before halftime. They are just slow rotating, not taking too hard of a stance into this next zone. But they're just chilling out here, Timmy. They don't want to overcommit, and I think that's the smart move. With 14 people still left, you know that there's a high chance that a team will come from behind out of the storm, and that's exactly what happens here, as it looks like Dork has spotted somebody throwing out those sorceries to try to make some difference. But now Gay Pineapples is at the front of the fight, throws down the boulder, hits both for a massive chunk of damage. That's going to be such a great way to start the fight, and let's see, Timmy, how they can translate into the rest of it.
Really nice like interaction there, as it looks like two players just popped out of nowhere, but Gay Pineapple was able to use that spring step room to just jump straight up, throw down a beautiful instant cast firewall, a nice little boulder to the face, and both of those players kind of backed up, took a second and said, wait a second, whoa, I was just checking what's going on up here. Gay Pineapples and Dork now going to reposition and make their way on top of this hill. A really good place to be. Really, we talk about the high ground all the time and how important it is. This is going to be a great high ground to be able to control as the circle closes in and pushes everybody closer together. However, you have to weigh whether or not it's worth putting that spotlight on you and your squad. Can you take the high ground and make the most of it, or are you going to put yourself up there and everybody going to focus fire you down? Well, it remains to be seen. But right now, Gay Pineapples and Dork kind of looking, very careful. They're cautious with their movement. They want that position, but they're using the ridge here, the line of sight, to make sure they're covered, make sure that they wait for that opportune time, and then make their move whenever there's a chance to make it properly. And that's exactly what we see. A lot of pings coming out from Gay Pineapples, making sure they keep that line of communication open and making sure that they move into this final circle and put themselves in a good place.
Yeah, we see Maju just using that frozen alacrity from his teammate to keep this push going. Looking for that frost knife, just barely misjudges the momentum of his opponent, throws out the spreading sickness right there, but no damage will land. It looks like his opponent is just running away from this action, hiding in the storm, but it's not going to be enough as Maju PTS connects with the frost, but the opponent took one of those portals to get themselves back in reposition, dropping out of the sky. Really close though, Timmy. That was just 1 second away from that player being disrupted.
That's a lot of times with Spellbreak, when you have really great players at the top of their ability. That's what it is. It's like barely misses, just very close little interactions, and that's what shows you. These players, they're on. They understand the game. They know what they can get away with, and they play it down to the very last second to do that and make it happen. But it looks like Maju and Solar Bear will clash with a couple of other Titans by the name of Runic Dreams and take them out of the game early. Ooh. And now going right into the next one, as Maju does not stop at all. Just got another orb down, and that would be the 5th one for him if he can get it secured, but throws down some more damage in the form of a nice little toxic cloud and some toxic slaps. Beautiful flick of the frost as the Shadow Step player gets punished big time for getting in the way, and now Maju with a nice flash freeze going to be able to slow that player down. But it looks like as they both get frozen and come out, Maju will get slapped into orb form, but Solar Bear is able to pick it up pretty quickly and throw out a nice little exile on the Gay Pineapples. Now this team is popping off. Only four remain. It's going to be a 2v2 situation. Solar Bear on the Frostborn taking that front line and getting punished for it big time. All the armor down and only just a little bit of HP on that bar, but it looks like Maju is able to come through with that Shadow Step, get right in the face and put a lot of pressure. That should be enough pressure to give Solar Bear the chance to heal up. He gets a little bit off, but oh no, as Maju pushes in, he gets gobbled up by the big damage of the Toxic, and it looks like Crashy and It's Your Boy Ross comes through and takes the dub. We called it. I told you. They were working every single time they came through. They married both of their play styles from round 1 and round 3. They were cautious, but they were aggressively smart, and it paid off big time. Great play from Synonymous. GG's, you guys. Wow.
What a set. And that is 3 different teams winning all 3 of the first games. Team Synonymous, like you said, Timmy, you pulled out that prediction. You called it. You said they were going to work it out and get that final placement. They take first place in game 3. We do have a little bit of a halftime break. It'll be about 10 minutes, and then we'll move on to the final 3 games. It has been an exciting tournament, to say the least, Timmy. Any last comments before we go for that break?
You guys go stretch, do whatever you need to do, get yourself prepared, because the action is coming back and it's going to be just as exciting or even more. I can't wait to see you guys, and stick around.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Element Duo Qualifier number 3, the last qualifier of the set. So this is the last chance for players to get into that money round, the finals next weekend. And we got the scores ready, Timmy. I'm ready to see how things have been shaping up so far because different teams have won every game. It's not a super dominated set.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to take a look at it, and the interesting thing is we got a lot of people coming through and scoring well and placing well at the same time. So we're going to take a look. Number one at the very tippity top is going to be Runic Dream coming through with the Elpa Dog and Cam Sug squad at 1,311. Praise the Sun coming in pretty close, 1,250 in second place, and Synonymous in that third place at 791, taking that third round victory. Follow up close behind is fourth place at Dork Apple at 668. Really did a great job in that kill feed if y'all paid attention, popping off. And then Royal Ravens coming in at fifth place at 440. Really close match. Like we said earlier, we have a lot of different winners coming out on top of these rounds, and really making it a close fight as we do move through here. Take a look at the rest of them. We got Clockwave at number 6. Seventh place belongs to Cutie Patooties. Eighth place to EV, and the Villains at 9th, and then Mage Hunters at 10th. Pretty close round. I mean, pretty close race at the top 3 players, and I do expect Synonymous to come through and pick up even more points as we move on through. But as I mentioned, going through those scores, Dork Apple really popping up in that last game and really putting a lot of kills on the kill feed, and I expect some more stuff coming through from them as well as we move on into the second half of our qualifier here. Going to be hopping on over to the EU region and see exactly what's going to come out from these players here.
For sure. And I just want to remind everybody in chat that the thing to look for, the number to look for, is that 5th place finish, because in this set, the way that the qualifier is structured, if you place 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in today's event, you make it to the final. So while it is nice to hit that first place spot in today's qualifier, say I am the best duo playing today, what really matters for this event is getting in that top 5. So looking at the scores, you can see that it's really contested between Royal Ravens, Clockwave, Cutie Patooties, EV. They all have a shot to squeeze in that spot. So I'm super excited to get us going into game 4. Remember, there's 6 games total, meaning that we have 3 games to go. And so far, Timmy, if they're anything like the last, I am ready to go.
Yeah, and like you said, since it is the top 5, it's going to be really excited to see who's kind of like fighting for that 5th place, the 4th place. The top looks pretty secure, as we do have some big Titans up there throwing down some big numbers. But between those top Titans, the top 3, it's a little bit more of an even race. The second place could definitely pop up and take that crown from Runic Dreams. But it's definitely exciting to see all these players come through. And, really big shout out again to Synonymous coming through and putting in the work, thinking it through. You could see the gears turning between every round, coming through and trying something different. Eventually something stuck and it worked for him on round 3. But also I cannot deny the fact that I just constantly over and over kept seeing the name Gay Pineapples in the kill feed. Dork showing up, really awesome team backup for Gay Pineapples coming through, but Gay Pineapples really showing up and really impressing me, not only in this qualifier, but past some of the element scrims and stuff, really coming through and putting down some big numbers. I gotta say, I'm very impressed with the improvement over time, and definitely excited to see all of these new players come through. Like somebody that's been playing Spellbreak for 2 years, has been passionate about the game. It's so refreshing to see new players discovering what I love and taking it to a new level and showing us what they have to offer. And that's exactly what we're seeing with some of these squads as we move on into this second half.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, after casting a lot of Spellbreak throughout the years, I have noticed it's so satisfying to see these teams pop up and just start fighting for those top spots. And that's kind of what we're seeing today with a lot of these squads. You mentioned Team Synonymous, and while both players individually are extremely talented, it's your boy Ross and Crashy, both super great at Spellbreak. They recently came together, I believe, as that duo to compete. In the past couple of weeks, they set that up. So it's not a legacy team. They just came together, and the teamwork's already on point.
Yeah, very well. Like I think one of our production people, my boy Doctor came through and said, I think it's really smart to have a good Frostborn on the back line, point them where you want them, say, hey, shoot that guy, and then just direct that damage. And it kind of works out. Ross, just a really, really solid player that you can rely on in almost every situation. He doesn't get as much time to play as some other players do, but just a really, really solid player. Crashy, somebody that thinks about the game at such a level that really just lets him understand and have such a great game sense about what needs to be done, and great decision making coming out there from a level-headed caster all the time. But I really kind of wanted to go back, rewind to a couple of rounds ago to something that you were talking about when we talked about these experienced players playing the game, and what really that experience does, and what kind of depth that they offer in terms of understanding. For you newer players that are watching and trying to learn and pick up stuff, you saw earlier Plays was talking about how they throw down the toxic cloud and they shoot it and they make an instant cover. They freeze it and all of a sudden they have a line of sight cover. They even have a physical cover that will absorb some projectiles. Keep an eye out for things like that, and you will pick up so much from these gamers. I think it was Darkbreakers weeks back that was he didn't have a firewall to throw down, but he needed cover from incoming frost shots. So he would literally surround himself by fire puddles, shoot fireballs at the ground, and create a little ring of fire puddles to protect himself. It's not as adequate as a firewall, but that's the kind of things that you can do in this game, and you're only going to see it here on Element from players that have been playing for a while and really sharpening their skills. So make sure you join up in the Discord, exclamation point Discord, get in there, follow the events that are coming in, make sure you check out your favorite player, your favorite team. You can check out the scores from the events, and just get involved with what, in my opinion, is one of the best games on the internet. So it's great to be here.
We're on the same page. I love Spellbreak. Competitive Spellbreak is just too fun to watch. And I want to give a quick shout out to a team that wasn't on the top 10, but it is Orden de la Corona, and it is 2 players playing from South America. So their ping is a lot higher than a lot of our contestants in here. Just wanted to give them a quick shout out for showing up, coming through, and playing in today's event. Although they haven't hit that top 10, there's plenty of time for them to make some waves in these last games. And that team is AAM and Emilia. So we'll see how they come through in the second half. I'm hoping for them to pull out some action. We got Game 4 coming up very soon, Timmy. You talked about the elemental interactions between teams and how people are using that frost to cover them with the toxic cloud. And I just love the fact that these duos are using their elements together. They're using, as you said earlier, It's Your Boy Ross was shooting Frost Alacrity, and then Crashy would zap it up to get some more CC on top of that. And it's those types of interactions that, although they seem minor, you're putting yourself at an advantage. You're using every single tool available to your kit and to your duo. So it's very nice to see those types of things.
Yeah. And it honestly feels so natural the way the game is developed and kind of put together. Those interactions feel kind of natural, and if you don't watch things like Element, if you don't understand exactly what's going on, you might even miss what's going on exactly. Like, wait, what? Why did that guy get? What's happening here? And that's the reason, in my opinion, it's so important to get a perspective from players or from casters or experienced people in the game, in the community, to kind of break down what's going on, give you an idea of how everything works, so that you can say, oh, I can do that, or I can build upon that. And that's what it's all about. Definitely Element, one of the best places to be. Make sure you guys check out the YouTube, subscribe to the Element YouTube. Personally, I love watching, whenever I get some free time, just watching the scrim highlights or anything, and just seeing the players really push it to a new level. And I'm so glad that you brought up Emilia and AAM from South America. I have personally recently had a lot of interactions with the South American community, and they are very passionate about Spellbreak. They really want to play Spellbreak, at a higher level, and that whole community is starting to come together and organize things so they can play together too. So that's one of the special things about this community. One thing about the special about this game, it's all around the world. People want to play. You need to tell your friends, get them in here, make sure these lobbies are always full, so we can push it to even another level and do things that even these competitive players haven't figured out yet. Because that's the more eyes, the more players, the better the game will be, and the more we'll figure out what's really possible. But definitely excited to see these South American players, see if there's any kind of difference in their ping here, swapping over to a new region. I'm not sure if it's going to be better or worse. It's probably not going to be optimal either way, but definitely a lot of respect for coming through and having fun with us either way on these unoptimal conditions for them.
Yeah, 100%. You're right on that one, Timmy. And I also want to talk about, we were talking about elemental interactions earlier, but I really wish for any of you who are new to competitive Spellbreak, you could get a little window, a little fly on the wall into some of these duos' communications. If you could just listen to how they communicate, the top teams in these pressure situations, it is really fantastic to hear how they relay information, how they interpret information, and how they build up that communication as a duo. I think that's the most important part of these types of events is how do you react to situations? Do you have situations that you've planned for, practiced for, that you can understand as a duo? And we see that from Crashy and It's Your Boy Ross. They just get better with that communication. In the final fight, you can almost see the calls that they're making into that final engagement. And it's that type of play that really separates you as a duo.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's two really, really big skills that come into play there. One comes, you have to be a level-headed person. You got to be able to stay calm under pressure. In Spellbreak, it's a very chaotic game. You say other games are chaotic as well, shooters and stuff that you play. I agree. However, you don't always have explosions and tornadoes and lightning storms and things going all around you. So being able to stay calm in that kind of situation and read what's going on around you is one part of that. The other part is being able to relay that adequately, quickly, and efficiently to your teammates. So big point, a shout out to you for pointing that out, because it is incredible to see how they can communicate what's going on amongst all this crazy stuff, decide what the right decision to do is, and then in that second also relay that to their teammate, and then everybody get on the same page. You see some of that teamwork coming through in other games, and I'm not going to take it away from the teamwork and the compositions that you get from other games, but it's really something special to see players be able to calculate that, kind of work it all through their mind, and then come out on top at the other side in Spellbreak. And that's what you see over and over. These players are incredible.
And you're making great points. And we say it all the time in these events. The communication is the baseline, setting yourself up, making macro plays. But in Spellbreak, the beauty of it is no matter how set up you are, you're going to have to hit some shots and you're going to have to show off your mechanics if you really want to clutch some of these games. So that's my favorite part is this is not Hearthstone. You cannot just plan something out and get a lucky draw, get some RNG on your side. RNG is certainly a factor, but you're going to have to make plays with your mouse and keyboard if you want to win these games. And we see that over and over and over again. And I'm hoping we keep seeing it in these remaining 3 games. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are checking the score on our Discord through the bot command. We just showed up the top 10, but these will be subject to change as we go further into this event.
Definitely excited to see how this plays out. Moving into the second half, going to be on a different region, so it's definitely going to be a different experience a little bit from these players. We might even see a little bit of a different play style coming out to try to combat that latency difference, but it's definitely going to be exciting, dropping in very shortly here, and we're going to be moving on up to the next round of action. I'm excited to see if maybe we get some of our EU players coming through. It looks like we actually have quite a few. We have the team UK with that kid Tom 2 times on that team in the EU. We also have Humans with Ollie and Flip Pegasus on the EU as well, and also Mage Hunter on Tanimon PE and Glad Mitman. Tanimon PE, I think, was a name that we already kind of took notice of. Wasn't making it really, really, really far, but was picking up some exiles on some players that were playing on their native ping. So now that we're on EU, maybe it'll be the switch that needs to be flipped to be able to give them that advantage and really show what they can do here. It's going to be exciting. Not a terrible difference in latency, but it might be enough for you to kind of have to, take notice and adapt going on in.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we see that over and over again as well. The latency does make a difference, and we are right into game 4, Timmy. Getting over to Mio and P. Balana. We'll see what they can do as they start off, and a lot of kills getting out, but none of them seem to be jumping out as tournament names other than Lash Out and Ancient Generic. So that's one trade happening early in this game 4. As we move through, we got Dork Pineapples trying to make a move here in this 2v2. See Gabe Pineapple's now looking for that pot. His teammate Dork is taking a lot of the pressure up on that high side. But Gabe Pineapple sees these shots coming in. The wind shears as well, just chipping away at him, but nothing really connecting for significant damage. So hopefully Dork Apples can just rotate out of this one. This does not look like the fight they want to move on. So they're just going to bounce, but Timmy right into a new team. And this is the unfortunate reality of rotating in Spellbreak. You are bound to eventually run into someone else. Just happened to be early for this team.
Right out from the clutches of one monster into the clutches of another. But you do have to be ready to deal with it. And it looks like, honestly, at this early in the game, I think Gay Pineapples actually has a lot of tools in his arsenal to deal with it. Has a nice little spring step. It's going to be that rarity, that rare rarity, and also some boots. But unfortunately for Gay Pineapples, does take quite a bit of damage there from lightning, and out the door into the face of 2 more players. He can't go anywhere. There's somebody in every corner, and now Gay Pineapple's going desperately low. But it looks like he manages to stay out of the focus from that player for just a second. But as he does throw out a slap on Toxic, he gets the pressure back on him, and the focus will be on Gay Pineapples as he does go down into orb form. But it looks like this team might be lucky, as there is a lot of action going on in this area, and will be plenty enough distraction for Dork to be able to bring Gay Pineapples back to life. Cam really does suck. Still in the fight, using that invisibility rune. Not the perfect rune to be able to use, but it will be perfect to be able to reset in this early action here, and most likely be able to stay alive. Elpadog going very low, less than 10 HP on that bar, as it looks like his teammate does try to stay, at arm's length, doesn't want to get too close to Elpadog, doesn't want to give away exactly where his position is when he is that low. Just a little drop of Toxic could take them out of the game. But Cam is going to kind of retreat back to where he is, give him a little bit of backup, and keep that pressure on the encroaching opponents to be able to help Elpadog out and get back into this game.
And it's fascinating right now to me, looking at the classes that this duo has selected. They've switched multiple times on what class they're going to play. Maybe on EU, Camsux decided that Stone would be easier to execute. And look at him right now, finishing off Magazine Fever. But just like we were talking about, in Game 3, this duo of Runic Dreams switched up their class composition. They do it again now over on the EU. It just shows the level of comfort that this duo has competing in these events. They are comfortable on multiple setups, multiple classes, multiple compositions, but we'll see how it really turns out as Camsux is under pressure. Elpadog just got his potions and armor back up to full, but he's going to have to help out his teammate in a big way. We see Camsux is down to just his last licks. Elpadog now taking massive damage, and Runic Dreams is on the back foot looking out, as this is not an ideal fight to me.
Whoa, Elpadog able to come back in, and really not an ideal fight. I was thinking to myself, this Camsux is on top of a house, and he's a stone shaper. Why is he up there? But hey, he managed to survive for quite a bit of time and managed to open up a couple of doors for Elpadog to walk in through and get an exile on. Elpadog, the only one alive, but is able to get a nice little armor off, and you see that armor coming back through. But oh man, Programmer 69 coming with the boulder and fireballs. Elpadog finding himself right up against that house and nowhere to go, as that ricochet effect, that backboard splash damage will come through big time and take out a big team in this lobby. Very early on, we're going to see Runic Dreams fall into the hands of Programmer 69. That's Programmer 69. That's right, I said it. And earlier, we did see Lash Out and Kemet come through with an exile onto, I can't remember exactly who it was, but they were able to get one teammate out. But the other one came back and actually took both of those out, 1v1 situation. So big shout out to that player. I can't remember exactly who it was. It might have been Dork. But it looks like Alicia X Life will be able to come through as the team hero here, as Case of Beer does go down to a Toxic Slap, and Soth is brought back into the realm of the living, and back into this lobby to help his teammate out here. Looking really strong here, as Cutie Patootie manages to survive, making it into that top 23 players in this lobby, and looking pretty strong for their trouble.
Yeah, clutch play from Alicia Life to hold it down for her team. They will survive. Her and Soth will rotate into the next circle. We get over to Valhalla and Autumn. They are comfortable on this high ground, just waiting to see what's going to unfold in front of them. And again, to me, we're at 23 players remaining. This final circle is set up to be a huge, chaotic bloodbath. And we'll see who can come out on top. It's been a toss-up almost every time, as now Autumn is low. Valhalla is going to do what he can to try to redeem the team, but it's going to be tough now, as his teammate is operating on low HP. Autumn did opt for the Tempest in this game, so his mobility might be able to get him out of the sticky situation, but it's not looking great. He's over on the far side taking big damage. Valhalla trying to do what he can. The opponent does take a ton of burst, and Fujin Zephyr will fall to Valhalla, but his duo is about to come in. Let's see how they can deal with it. Nice shot from Valhalla to stick the opponent and keep the pressure going. Jumping through the cloud now with that Toxicologist, trying to make it work. The opponent is kiting backwards with the S key. Valhalla eats a Frost Knife, and this might just fall out of hand for him. His teammate needs to help out, but Maju comes in on the wing. Praise the Sun is ready to third party, Timmy, and they're here to eat.
Oh, yeah, and they just gobbled up a little snack by the name of Valhalla. Autumn having to find a little bit of a retreat, trying to get a better place, but doesn't want to go too far from his teammate. You can tell that he's got that on his mind. How can I get Valhalla back into the game? Got to respect that as a teammate, but definitely not sure that this is a good place to be, as it looks like the pressure is coming on, and it will definitely be some very, very scary players by Praise the Sun coming in. Very, very nice pressure, and it looks like they're going to be able to guard that orb very, very well as Autumn kind of resets, trying to keep an eye on. I think they're actually letting Valhalla stay alive to try to use them as bait. Very, very out in the open over here, kind of just waiting for it to happen, keeping an eye on that orb. And if Autumn drops down to try to bring him back to life, it's probably going to be the green light to go put that aggression on. But before that can happen, Autumn takes a look to the right and finds that third party coming in, going to be able to jump in and do some nice, easy damage to the back, as this player was completely unaware that there was anybody close by. Fireballs traded back and forth as Autumn takes a little bit more damage than they want, and now down to that less than 60 HP range. Going to be very, very dangerous. In the storm here, Colorado Rider in the storm going to be able to use that Tempest to reposition, and it looks like he might have gotten out of this fight, out of the danger. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't know. Very close by. He goes in for a sneaky, sneaky res, as Valhalla does not have a lot of time, and he actually gets it off right under the noses of some fighting. But Valhalla says, hey, I'm still going in. I don't care if I got no health or armor. I want to fight. Jumping under the bridge, throwing down some Toxic Cloud, and our Toxicologist is in it. Very interesting to see this combination of classes plays. Well, usually we have a front line, we have a back line. Usually the front line is either a Tempest or a Toxicologist, but here we've got two frontline classes, and so far it's working out for them. I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to work till the end, but it's going to be a lot of damage to deal with if they can manage to survive.
Yeah, the key is going to be able to the key to this squad is getting the combos off at the right time, but it doesn't look like they'll even have time to breathe, Timmy. Autumn is down to just his last HP, and these opponents, are chasing him out of the circle. He is just down to one shot. One will do it. He's doing a lot of damage off the back end of this, though. Unfortunately, he falls to soft. It looks like Cutie Patooties are ready to just gobble up this duo and take the kills. But I will mention that he did a fantastic job of dishing out damage on the way to his death. Every bit of score counts, and it is crucial to throw at those fireballs. So good job from Autumn. And it looks like Alicia X Life is actually caught between two teams now, getting blown up by Maju and Solar Bear. Alicia's teammate is somewhere off into the fray, and it's unfortunate to see them get separated like that, as now Solar Bear PTS will go for the exile.
And that just shows you really how important positioning is. If you're not in a good spot, you can really get pinched. You can get forced into an area that just puts you in between a rock and a hard place. And usually the rock and the hard place are very, very good players. That's not what you want at all. As Solar Bear does come through and secure an exile onto Alicia X Life. Maju on the teammate there, being able to pick up Valhalla. And only 14 players remain. We seen in kill feed right before then that Crashy was able to come through with a full exile onto one of our EU squads. Mage Hunters going down before that. And now it looks like Valhalla will be completely exiled. Give him credit to Trap Boys there on the PlayStation 4. Solar Bear doing his thing with the Frost Lance as he takes a couple of shots here and there. Can't make anything happen yet, but looks like Autumn and Valhalla are trading back and forth with Trap Boys here. Autumn and Valhalla really alive this entire time, but they'll eventually fall to the hands of the team Programmer 69 and Trap Boys. Or actually Trap Boys and Programmer 69. I don't think they're on teams, but a nice little flick of the frost as this Flight Rune user gets a little bit of a lesson taught. Don't fly away whenever the player is a Frostborn. They will punish you. And it looks like Soft will go down eventually as Maju throws a quick slap of the Toxic Gauntlet and secures the final bit of health on to that Cutie Patootie team. Put in a good effort. Really made it farther than they have in the past rounds. So shout out to Cutie Patootie. But the action is on as we make our way into the top 5 teams remaining in this lobby.
What a shot from Solar Bear right there. All that movement going on around him. He still just plants it. It's just trying to take shots now at this high ground, throwing them right above that horizon line, as you can see, trying to aim them for the head, even though that headshot doesn't give any sort of multiplier. Solar Bear just wants the style points of hitting someone who's peeking. He does spot out multiple players, though. That Frostborn passive showing out the outline is really helping him identify where to rotate. And look at him juking left and right, trying to make sure he's not easy to hit from the incoming Frost Snipes. You see some portals in the background there. Solar Bear kind of gets a peripheral view of them, so you know players do have that opportunity to hard rotate through a portal, reset their height, and jump through and find a new spot to set up. You do see this 2v2, though, from distance, Timmy. Neither team wants to engage, but they're comfortable just shooting shots into each other.
Definitely, that's what we see a lot in these these kind of competitive scenes. They will find a good place to set up shop, make their own like little homestead, their fort where they feel safe, and they'll take shots back and forth until one connects, and then that's kind of the green light to go. That's kind of the flag being waved that says, it's time to fight it out. You take advantage of that little bit of action that you've been able to buy for yourself. But it looks like a little bit of action is actually a lot of bit of action going on here as Dork and Gay Pineapples does not stop throughout this round. A lot of engagements going through from this team, but it looks like not any exile's been able to secure so far for Gay Pineapples on that Stone Shaper. Going to be able to heal up pretty quickly there. And I got to go jump back for just a second to Solar Bear. I was taking a look at his talents, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's running Harmony, Finders Keeper, and Thirsty. Very interesting. And that entire team had such honestly, the RNG gods had smiled on Maju and Solar Bear. They have such incredible loot, which we'll take a look at when we hop back over there. But the action is going on in front of us as Dork and Gay Pineapples manages to stay healthy for quite a bit of while. But Dork now getting the position where there's 2v1 situation, even though there's a 2v2 squads both in this area. Dork was really getting all the focus while Gay Pineapple stayed on the back and really couldn't do much, trying to land some shockwaves. But it looks like there are players here, there, and everywhere. Oh my, Dork going down very, very low. And now Gay Pineapple's really great positioning here as he manages to stay out of the line of sight from the gamers until just then. Dork now going down to Mio in that kill feed, and Gay Pineapple's the last player surviving on this team, getting the pressure as two gamers from above puts on some lightning bolts to the booty. Got to run now.
Yeah, he is just trying to rotate, but as you said to me, there's people everywhere. No matter where he turns, there seems to be another player trying to hunt him down. Pineapple's doing what he can to maybe find this portal, but decides against it, instead looking to pot through the heavy storm damage. Thirsty will help just a little bit because it doesn't have very many scrolls read up. Crashy, though, still in this game with It's Your Boy Ross. They did win the last match. Let's see if they can keep this momentum going. This is team synonymous. And they're making more smart moves that we were talking about. Their communication's on point as Crashy and It's Your Boy Ross decide to just take the far side rotation, instead positioning themselves on the outside. And this circle, Timmy, is shrinking. 10 people still left in the fight, and we are about to see a bloodbath.
Oh my gosh, this is what I've been expecting and waiting for all night. This small little area. 8 monsters still in here. We had 10 just a second ago. In the blink of an eye, we lost a couple, and that's what you should expect here. Down to 6 now, as it looks like Crashy manages to take out Gay Pineapples with a nice boulder, and Dork will fall to Mio. But it looks like Crashy and It's Your Boy Ross right in the center of this circle here, right in the middle. Going to be in a very interesting place. Going to get a lot of focus here. But we see that beautiful firewall placement coming down. Instantly slams the ground to get that sustain from the Stone Shaper, and it looks like he's going to be able to reposition and heal up nicely with that Thirsty talent to get that health and armor back very quickly. Solar Bear does not stop, though, as he picks up a couple, and it's going to be a 2v2 situation. Ross going down very, very low, but it looks like he's able to put out quite a bit of damage onto the opposing team. He gets Maju out of the game, and it looks like Solar Bear is all that remains, but Ross goes down to Solar Bear. Crashy versus Solar Bear, 1v1 situation. I think Crashy is definitely the higher health and armor in this situation. He's letting Solar Bear heal. Solar Bear dropped behind. Shockwave's coming out, try to push him out from his hiding spot, but Crashy did not want to use that aggression, did not want to get too close, and now he's getting punished for it as he did allow Solar Bear to heal a little bit, but it looks like it doesn't matter as no damage has been dealt out. Instead of Crashy getting fireball after fireball to the dome from that spring step, slams the ground for Shockwave and tries to get some more armor back. Some damage above hand, and fire will do the dirty deed, done dirt cheap, as Solar Bear, known for the Frostborn, comes through with the fire and melts the competition at the end. Crashy and Ross played it so well, but there was nowhere to run except for into the next lobby as Solar Bear just destroys that circle. Oh my goodness.
What a play from Solar Bear right there. We saw the angle from Crashy's perspective, but I would love to also see how Solar Bear was handling that fight from his camera angle. What a 1v1. We don't often see those completely clean 1v1s to finish the game, but just a clutch performance right there. Timmy, break it down a little bit more. Maybe we can get a replay if it is available.
Oh man, there for a while it looked like there was some really good fights going between Ross and Crashy. They had a good engagement. It seemed like they were staying healthy for a while. Then in just in the blink of an eye, it looked like Maju and Solar Bear managed to kind of portion Ross off by himself. He lost his armor, lost his health, went very low. I expect him to go out right then and there, but before he does, I look at the kill feed. Maju's gone. I'm like, okay, what's happening there? Ross managed to survive and get an exile onto Maju with less than 10 HP, but then he instantly gets taken down by Solar Bear. At that point, I believe Solar Bear was pretty low. I think that he had less than 50 HP. Crashy was about almost 90 or so. He had a pretty decent amount. I think he had the advantage in that engagement. Solar Bear drops back, uses that thirsty talent behind the pillar there to heal up. I feel like Crashy could have been aggressive there, maybe jumped in, thrown a boulder, used your bedrock to kind of secure the exile. I understand the hesitance, the caution. You could go through there and get slapped with a toxic gauntlet and get destroyed and really lose the fight. But in the end, I think that a little bit of health that Solar Bear was able to afford himself for that little bit of reset gave him the confidence to go back out and hit those fireballs from that spring step over and over and over. Really great show. But I do think that was where the fight turned in the favor of Solar Bear. He kind of controlled the fight as soon as he stood behind that column, and Crashy was like, "Wait a second, I don't want to push in." You know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw that come down to it. And I do think as well, some people view Solar Bear as a one-trick pony with the Frostborn, but you see the versatility right there. That's offhand fire putting in work with the Spring Step combination. Spring Step has been seen more and more in the meta, the low cooldown, the difficulty to track someone who's in the middle of the Spring Step, and you see the result of it right there. You can just bang that off a cooldown, land the fireballs through tough angles, and you will succeed. What a fight from Solar Bear, representing Praise the Sun, taking the second win for them out of 4 games. And remember, if Crashy had won that game, Team Synonymous would be the team with 2 wins. So this just tells you how close today's qualifier is. We have 2 more games to go as well. Remember that if you want to check the scores as they come in, please enter the Element Discord and hit the !help. It'll give you a full list of commands you can run through. You can choose to select just one team. You can look at the whole list. Do whatever you like.
And it's definitely something you guys take a close look at, because if y'all remember, our top place was Runic Dreams, and in that round, Runic Dreams made it to about half the round. So definitely going to be a lot of points lost there. I do think they're going to be dropping the lowest 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken, plays.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll drop them lost. I'm sorry, we'll be dropping the last 1 round. So we'll be taking the 5 best rounds, and that will be it. So that might be the 1 round that Runic Dreams can kind of throw away. They really performed well in all the other rounds, but definitely I got a big smile on my face, a big eye on Synonymous. You guys, like Plays pointed out, this is a newly formed team. Crashy doesn't play competitive a lot. Ross doesn't have a lot of time to play Spellbreak as much as he would like to. But they come through here. They took round 3. They came into round 2, really had an opportunity, almost won by a hair. And they were playing different classes too. I don't know if you guys noticed, but on NAE, if I'm not mistaken, we had Crashy on Toxicologist doing his thing on the front line, being stealthy, being evasive like he does. We had Ross in the background doing Frostborn, doing what he does, making it work. And then you take a look here, they're running Conduit and Stone Shaper. They're thinking things through. They're making decisions to set themselves up to win. And when you have, an event where everybody's great players, they all know how to play this game, they all know how to fight, then setting yourself up to win might be the difference between winning and losing. And we see that happening here. Big time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all about, we just talked about it before we started the game. Good decision making, but then you have to be able to complete that 1v1. And while it was tense, I'm not trying to take away from Crashy right there. That's a hard fight. But you put yourself in those positions, and then you have to execute in that 1v1 or in that 2v2. But I'm not complaining, Timmy. This was quite a fight to end off game 4. And we have game 5 and 6 remaining. Not a single game has ended easily. All of them have been contested final fights. And I couldn't ask for more as a caster.
That's what you guys should expect here in Element. That's what it's all about. Coming through, fighting it out. Right now we have, a lot of times it's for bragging rights. It's for fun. It's to see who's the best and the best in the community. And that's always great. We even get people coming through and really putting a lot of effort to win. And I always respect that. I appreciate that. But right now we got some big prizes on the line. This is Qualifier, but you do have to qualify to be eligible to compete for those prizes. And, there's some sweet swag. We got the Warlock packs going out. We have the Spellslinger packs going out. A lot of in-game a gold that's going to be rewarded to the winners of these tournaments. A lot of, some exclusive outfits that you can only get through these packs. So I think we see a little bit of people coming through and, wanting to get that. That's a nice prize. And you see the effort coming through to try to make it happen. So definitely some big brain stuff coming through from our competitors, and I'm always excited. What's going to happen going into this next round, though? I mean, we saw some EU teams come through, and I think that we did see a little bit of a boost in performance from those EU teams on a more favorable latency. However, I don't think that we've seen any of them really step up and take the top like I was hoping to see. But we'll see what happens as we move into the next one. Really keeping my eye close on Ross and Crashy still, and also Solar Bear and Maju. I think I've seen Solar Bear rocking Finders Keepers as a talent. So interesting.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. And while we're talking about the teams involved today, I want to bring up a team that we haven't talked about much, but they had a good showing in that game, and that's PBO plus Mio. That is the team name. I'm not just saying the players' names. That is Mio and P. Baloma. And they had a great showing in there in game 4. Didn't quite get into that final fight that was the final circle, but they had a much better performance in game 4 compared to 1 through 3. And now we're right into the fight, Timmy. Over and over again, we just start with the action. Flip Pegasus trying to land this toxic spray, but not getting the good end of it. Nice connect right there. His opponent will fall. His teammate Ollie Woe 5 does finish it off. That's Kemet Raw and Lash Out falling. And we see that team we just mentioned, PBO plus Mio, taking down Crashy.
Whoa, wait, that's a huge exile early on. Crashy going down, still has his teammate up, and it looks like his teammate will be able to step up and be a little bit of a hero as Mio does go down, and it looks like Ross will be able to step up and do what needs to be done as PB Baloma and Mio does go down to your boy Ross, and Crashy will be able to survive. That's the second round in a row that Crashy has been saved by his boy Ross, maybe third even, as Ross has been able to come through and really been an awesome cavalry, even on these early engagements. Playing stuff like Lightning, playing stuff like Frost, not particularly a great class for these early fights, but Ross able to come through. It looks like Crashy will most likely take the early encounters here, and that's why we see Crashy going down. But it looks like it's a necessary evil, as him going down gives Ross all the doors open to be able to make it happen and come through and secure a couple of exiles. But we'll see what happens, as it looks like Cutie Patooties is in the mix here.
Yeah, Alicia X Life pressing forward onto this opponent. Nice slap right there for 26. Soft will be on the backside as well, trying to help it out. Cam Sucks will fall right here. Cutie Patooties with a nice 2v2, and that should be Elpadog in the sky. We'll see if Cutie Patooties can finish it off here. Trying to land that shot. You see Elpadog might just be going off the cliff here. Not exactly sure what the strategy here is. He's pretty boxed out of this fight. And we'll see the 1v1. Alicia X Life just needs to finish this last bit of damage onto what should be Elpadog, as it looks like he's diving down to the cliff, playing the edge of that mountain, just showing off his movement here, as Alicia X Life is just throwing down the shockwaves. It looks like Elpadog is actually using that to his advantage to block the shockwave pathing. There's no way to hit him when he's floating between cliffs. And Elpadog now just watching as another player comes in to help, unsuspecting most likely, but Soft is just watching from a distance as his teammate is now getting hit from multiple teams. Alicia X Life heals out as fast as they can, but the lightning is following, and Timmy, this just totally fell apart. It looked so good for so long, but then just in the snap of your fingers, it is flipped completely.
Oh my gosh, I am so, guys, this is why I'm one of the biggest Elpadog fanboys. That was gorgeous. That was incredible. Literally using his sorcery cancel, everything that he can possibly, also staying off the ground. I told you guys before his lava against Stone Shaper, and Elpadog knows exactly that fact. Alicia X Life has to get pushed out, as Elpadog managed to buy enough time for a third-party engagement to come through and actually take care of his problem for him. Gets back out of the fight while those players focus Alicia, and then comes back in healed up and puts some more pressure on Alicia. Completely turn this situation entirely on its head, and that is just what you want to see from a gamer. Soft very close to getting revived, but Alicia cannot make it happen, as Cam really does suck is back in the action. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am blown away by this play right now. I'm sorry, Elpadog, Cam sucks. You are incredible. That is the play of the year, in my opinion. Elpadog able to just hover over the brink of death, stay off the ground, and bring his teammate back in for a double exile. Soft going completely out of the game. Flip Pegasus going out of the game now, as Elpa lands a Frost Lance, and Alicia X Life pushed out of the fight, able to secure one exile for herself, but now down one teammate less in the fight. And just wow plays. Wow.
Yeah, that is pure calm, cool, collected energy from Elpadog right there. Literally one small mistake in his movement and he will die an embarrassing fractured death, but instead he gets the full mechanical outplay. Alicia X Life trying their best to finish off that kill, but with the third party coming in as well, they made the smart choice to just peel out of that one, wait for another opportunity to maybe find a fight. And we're watching Dork Apples now. Gay Pineapple's looking at this angle, watches his opponent teleport away, gonna try to take that spring step to find more vantage point, but the damage just keeps on rolling. His teammate Dork is doing a great job of supporting Pineapples by firing on the player chasing him, and this duo will survive, but not by much. They're separated now at a distance. Gay Pineapples doesn't have much armor to work with. He's gonna have to drink pots, but these opponents aren't gonna let that happen easily. To me, they're chasing him to the end of the earth, and he's throwing out that spring step, breaking that line of sight, but in the kill feed, the action doesn't stop. We'll see if this team can try to recover, but it's looking difficult as Programmer 69 takes down Dork with the disruption. Pineapples might just have to leave him for dead.
Yeah, once again, we've seen this happen. This might be the third round in a row. Definitely see as they get into the fight there, a little bit of the issue in their interaction as Dork and Gay Pineapples kind of just get wedged apart instantly. As soon as they get in that interaction, Dork kind of goes one way, Gay Pineapple goes the other way. Gay Pineapple gets a little bit of focus, a lot of armor, health getting lost by the lightning bolts, getting shot to the back, and then Dork shows up as that cavalry to do exactly what Dork needs to do. Come through, try to put some action in, put distraction in, give Gay Pineapples a chance to heal up. But in the end, yet again, Dork falls for his trouble. Gay Pineapple survives, and it's going to be a one-man situation for this squad moving forward. I'm not sure if that's what you want, but it's definitely going to be what happens over and over if you continuously position yourself away from your teammates. You have to have that kind of, togetherness. You have to have that same mindset of drawing a line in the sand and saying, hey, this is where our line is. This is where I'm going to stay for safety. If you need to come back to this line, you can come in. I'll go back out. We cannot get split up like that. And you'll see exactly what happens if you do manage to get split. But a lot of action going on in the kill feed as Solar Bear takes out Autumn, and now Adrian Shimmer with an X out onto Tony Mon, and Shockwave coming through with one onto Adrian now. Maju and Solar Bear pushing in, and it looks like there might be a little bit of fight, a little bit of action, a little bit of party time going on in this area. Plays.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do with this forward motion. Notice that Maju did take a knowledge potion. He has a couple extra clouds ready to go, so his burst will be high, but forget about the burst. It looks like Praise the Sun is just sitting back a little bit, throwing their toxic spray over, gardening, as they say. And Solar Bear will be actually the one to rush up there. The combat Frostborn player, no fear in his eyes as he just runs straight forward and tries to plant some big shots. Looking at this team running away from Praise the Sun, they do have a nice angle to work on, but I don't think they want to overcommit in case that third party comes through. You can see Maju is hesitant to push forward, but Solar Bear is saying, forget about it. Let's get this work, as he just pushes past this flaming castle and just runs up even farther forward. Remember, there's still 15 players left, and Maju spots out this potting opponent, should be able to finish the kill, but the flight room comes out. Oh! Solar Bear PTS hits Camsucks from a distance in flight, and now, even though Maju is low, his teammate still has some HP to work with. Maju is just on his last licks, looking away to try to get out of this one, but he won't. Arnando B finishes off the disruption. Now it's a 1v2 for Solar Bear, who may be overextended in this situation. Timmy, I don't know if Praise the Sun can play out of this one, but we've seen Solar Bear work some crazy situations.
Oh, I do have some faith. It looks like Solar Bear playing pretty well here in the storm, but it looks like it's going to be the storm that gives him the cover that he needs, as a lot of players won't even push into this area in fear of that storm damage, not wanting to use that resources. But it looks like they're keeping a close eye on that orm, and I think we found our answer exactly to why our Solar Bear, our Frostborn, was so aggressive so much on that front line. I could just hear the comms now. That's Runic Dreams. That's Runic Dreams. Elpo went out. That's exactly what was going on, and they did want to push in and take as much advantage of that situation that was was on, and they did just that, as it looks like Camsucks and Elpo will fall. Arnando B coming through though and putting out some big damage on this EU lobby, and it looks like Solar Bear will be able to come through and put the fire back out, but that team will come through and take out a huge team there by the name of Maju and Solar Bear. Praise the Sun going down, as it looks like Programmer 69 and Arnando will be popping off here. 3 exiles down on the scoreboard for Programmer, manages to get his teammate back up into the fight, and it looks like they're going to be able to heal up just fine, as we have made ourselves into the top 10 contenders in this lobby already. And it looks like we got a new team stepping up. This is what we were hoping for, and we'll see what happens. It looks like Crashy is still alive, taking out Chat Boys in that kill feed.
Yeah, we're just about to hit single digits on the player count. 10 people remaining for the moment. And I just want to mention, although Programmer 69 did a good job of staying calm and finishing the kill under Solar Bear was so close to pulling out the most ridiculous 1v2 out of a third party. I think I would have had to just leave the cast and let you solo cast, Timmy, if I had to witness that live. Solar Bear is on one, and although he falls, he will still be happy with his performance in Game 5. But we're watching Programmer 69 now making that rotation. He is choosing Vigor for his talent, so he will be a little bit of extra tank to his game, as our Nando B seems to be playing that backline position on the conduit.
Oh, Programmer 69. Now that you pointed that out, just an incredible, incredible tanky build. Probably the most tanky build that we've seen tonight, or in a while, actually. We got Stone Shaper going to be able to get that sustain just from auto attacking, getting that armor back. Has recovery on hand, so he's going to be able to get that health back as he takes damage. So as you're fighting, he's going to be healing up his armor and his health while he's fighting. On top of that, he has more health than you do. He's got Vigor talent, just like Plays pointed out. He's going to have so much sustain, and this is going to be the perfect front line for a squad, especially with a conduit on the backside that can just do this poke damage that's safe to do and also impossible to get away from almost. But here's the team that I'm very, very excited about watching. Every round they've improved and improved and improved, and yet again we see them in the top 10 situation looking very strong. Stone Shaper and Conduit on hand, 2 exiles down for it's your boy Ross. I know Crashy's picked up a few for himself and really already completely healed up, positioned in the safe zone, and now in a tower from has a great high ground position, able to use this perspective to deal some very safe, easy damage with these gauntlets. And like I said earlier, these players here, these two are setting themselves up to win, and that might be exactly what happens. But it looks like Programmer 69 will get a little bit of a Slammerox to the face and go down in that kill feed.
Yeah, and look at it's your boy Ross and Crashy. Team Synonymous just holding this high ground, looking for their next move. We're getting over to Scott Danny, throwing down the boulder. Nice sorcery combo to put in a bit of burst. Gonna have to keep on chasing here. Shockwaves come out, but the players are staying airborne enough to avoid that damage. Scott Danny actually taking a little bit of the trade. Slammerox is on the side of his team, getting that kill onto Alicia X Life. That is one member of Cutie Patooties falling down. Keep in mind that they did get into that top 10 placement, so that's a nice little bit of points to go for it, plus the exiles that Alicia X Life got at the start of the game. So they won't be too disappointed with the end result there. They still have one member of the team still alive. Soft could make some miracle plays here as well, as we see Scott Danny and Slammerox just holding down this position in the center.
Oh man, this is going to be a very, very fun final circle here in Halcyon. It looks like they're going to go ahead and go for the exile onto that orb. Very surprised. I actually thought that maybe they would use that for some bait, but no, they're going to go ahead and go for the exile. Probably a smarter move, as that is going to be a lot of value taking that player out of the game. Only 8 remain, as it looks like we might have four squads still in here. And a big shout out to Alicia X Life for coming through and gaining a lot of points there. Like you said, she did make it to the top 10, and really going to be a great job for that team to get some more points and move up in the ranks on that scoreboard. Looks like Ross and Crash are going to be moving up on the scoreboard definitely, as they are the final one remaining out of our top 3 squads on the scoreboard. But it looks like we do have a lot of teams that we haven't seen pop up really coming through and putting on a great show here. Programmer 69, one of those players, definitely will go down though eventually to Slammerox, completely exiled, as it looks like Crashy and Ross will be pushed in, Storm moving on in, and they are now kind of forced to reposition, as it looks like Crashy will find himself in the cathedral and face to face with a gamer that has a flight rune. That gamer did not want to fight though, as they instantly flew away, a little bit scared of the boogeyman that showed up. But now the Storm on their heels, they're going to have to make some tough decisions here, Plays.
Yeah, we see Crashy just working his way through. Also, my apologies, Soft did die early, so that is Cutie Patooties fully out from the earlier fight that we saw with Slammerox. Crashy now doing what he can with what he's got, takes a huge stone slam off the side here. His teammate It's a Boy Ross is just peppering shots in through that window, but the damage will not stop, and the opponents are coming straight for this Team Synonymous. Crashy moving right in now, looking for the fireball, doesn't quite get it to go, but his teammate gets the backup damage, and now this is just breaking down right in front of us. Another fight just so chaotic with almost nowhere to hide. Crashy running straight forward into another opponent. The teleport comes out to avoid more damage, but Timmy, this fight is just breaking down at the seams. Crashy's doing what he can to get damage off consistently, but he's got to help out his teammate. Lands one onto Adrian Shimmer to finish off that kill. 6 players left, but Crashy has to deal with the CC and damage coming through. Timmy, take it away, as we got 3 teams left.
Oh my gosh, Hernando B, for one of the first times we've seen this name pop off, and pop off he does. Gamer after gamer being secured, getting taken out, and Hernando B is the one that's doing it. But it looks like Crashy and Ross might be the one to come through and win this game, as it looks like Hernando does fall to Slammerox eventually. Crashy and Ross really doing a great job of resetting, taking their time to reposition, and playing it smart and safely, as they now have a 2v1 situation. Crashy being the hero, as it looks like Ross does take quite a bit of damage, and the focus that allows Crashy to come through and do what needs to be done in this game. Gay Pineapple's taking the second place by himself, but there we go. Ross and Crashy taking round 3, second place in round 4, and now taking the dub on round 1. And it is no surprise, as you can see, just every round, the improvement, the teamwork has just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. As Ross did go down there a little bit, that 1v1 going on with Gay Pineapples, he lost the interaction there, but Crashy took the advantage, came right in from behind and really pinched and made it work. Beautiful play. Especially impressed when they were able to jump down into that house in the middle of the chaos and heal up and reset. At that point, I think Crashy was pretty low. There wasn't a lot of opportunities to really make that happen, but they made it happen, and I think that was the turning point that really gave them what they needed to step up and take round 5. Man, oh man.
What a play. The revenge game from Crashy right there. Let's talk about the mental fortitude of Crashy for losing that 1v1 in the game previous. Untiltable. Just keeps his momentum rolling, says, forget about it. I lost in that 1v1, but this tournament ain't over. Taking a nice win in game 5. And Timmy, just like that, we're at the end of the tournament. One more game to go. I can't believe how fast those first 5 went by.
I think we're going to see a big shakeup in the scoreboard. You guys make sure that you are on that scoreboard. Get excited for the final after the final round here, because I do not know what's going to happen. We see some insane gameplay going on. Crashy really coming through and playing it very smart. I got to shout out. There was one point there in the final circle. I think there was maybe 6 players left. Ross was doing his thing. Everybody was fighting up here in this open area, and then Crashy had positioned himself kind of on the outside, looking in where you want to be in most fights, especially as a Stone Shaper with Shockwave. And he notices one player kind of dips down to the right and drops down to the wall and uses that line of sight. And Crashy says, no. I'm not going to let you get out of my line of sight. I'm going to make sure that you don't go down here and heal so you can come back in and take me out. And he made sure that he dropped down. He took care of that random variable that could have possibly showed up later and deterred the whole plan. Really great play. But moving on in, man, it's going to be exciting to see what else happens here. I'm trying to find Orlando and Programmer 69. I'm not sure what team they are. But I cannot ignore the fact that they just went through and not only cleaned up a lot of exiles, they cleaned up some exiles on some good players. I think it was Arnando and Programmer that was there in that interaction between Runic Dreams, and I think it was Solar Bear and Maju, all of that stuff going on near Dust Pool. There was 3 squads involved in that. 2 of them are some of the bigger squads in this tournament, and it looks like those 2 were the ones that fell, and Programmer 69 and Arnando were the ones that came out on top. So that's a lot to say. Very impressed with that. Managed to make it to the last fight. In the end, falls to Crashy and to some random chaos, but very impressed here with whoever that team is. Shout out to those players for sure.
Yeah, great point. And if we're going to talk about these other teams that were in that final circle other than the winners, Team Synonymous, I want to give a shout out to Dork Apples. They've been playing so well today. And even though they didn't finish off that final win in game 5, Crashy had to just snatch it from them right there. But still, Dork Apples deserves credit. They've been playing super well, especially Gay Pineapples. He's had his teammate drop down multiple times before. It didn't happen in this game, but he just stays with it. And he always manages to make work with what he can. So shout out to that team, and shout out to everybody for participating in today's event. I could not ask for better duo games today.
It's always a win-win for everybody when we have some good Spellbreak going on, and that's exactly what we got going on here. Really awesome interaction between Alicia X Life and Elpa Dog early on. Elpa Dog, I hate to admit it, actually, Elpa has gotten me on that exact same strategy before. I will say that I did not fare as well as Alicia. I'm pretty sure I fell off the map, but I'm aggressive. What can you say? But really beautiful play, and just like we've been talking about it all night, just goes to show you what happens when you play in the competitive scene. You might think, I'm not taking shots at anybody. You might think you're a good Spellbreak player, but until you get into these lobbies, until you see what these players can do, you don't even know what is possible until you just see them take it to the next level. And Elpa Dog, one of those players that's always since the beta has had one of the big brains, always takes a close look at the game and figures out, where's the chinks in the chain, where's the places that I can kind of make work for me that maybe wasn't intentionally made. I think that he was one of the first people that really came up with all the different res tech that we used to have, which was really awesome. But it's really cool to see these players come through and do stuff like that you might not expect, and then Alicia coming through and really being a teammate to survive down to the top 10, using that flight, using that Stone Shaper. It hasn't played Spellbreak a lot lately, but still doing well and coming through and putting on a good show. So like Play said, shout out to all the players coming through and making sure that we have a great time, great content to watch. Shout out to all the viewers hanging out to make sure that the party is here. And, shout out to Plays for inspiring me all the time.
Yeah, I will say one thing as well. Extra credit to Alicia X Life, because if I was in that situation, I would not leave. I would be too tilted. I would just start W keying Elpadog, but she had the mental fortitude to just decide this is not working out. I see a third party coming in. Multiple members are running at me full speed. Burn the flight rune, get out, and actually get farther into that final round. I know I would have probably just W keyed and ran off the cliff after Elpadog. I can't handle that. So shout out to everybody involved in that fight. And as you said, everybody involved in today's event. That includes the production people behind the scenes, Dr. Strofo, the people on graphics with Nikolai, Jellied, Jovan, all the people who make Element what it is. And we couldn't be doing it without you guys at home watching us. But with all that cheesy stuff out of the way, Timmy, it is Game 6, the final match of the day. Who's going to take it? Give it to me off the top.
Oh my! Okay. Synonymous. I'm putting money on Synonymous, man. Every round they come through. The only reason they did not win round 4, in my opinion, was just a little bit of stage fright, a little bit of hesitance, but really, really putting on a great show. And I do think they will come out on top and surprise a lot of people. But we're going back in as it looks like we have the cutie patooties looking real cute as Soft does put out some damage, but manages to take some damage, more damage than he probably wants, has to implore the Firefly to get back up on top of this house to stay off the ground. But it looks like Alicia is going to be able to step up and show out as Case of Beer does go down. Going to have that teammate coming, though, to back up Case of Beer, and it looks like he's going to be able to get into the face of Soft and plus some damage, but a lot of damage going out as Shockwaves from Alicia comes through and Cherry Time will fall. Nice little early on engagement for the Stone Shaper and Powermancers. Definitely going to be a favorable matchup for these two classes, two of the better classes for an early interaction with other squads. And now they're going to be able to hopefully take this area, use all this loot to get what they need, and kind of snowball their way into the final circle. But it looks like there's a lot more action going on in the kill feed as we go ahead and jump around and see more people getting this loot up and ready to fight it out here, Place.
That is an understatement, Timmy. We're at 28 people already. It looks like everybody got into Game 6 and said, forget about the tempo of this game. I am holding down my W key until my damn keyboard shatters. We got Shockwave LOL running down this opponent with his teammate Clockwise. They do finish that off. Barbie Bambi will be the one to fall there. We see more and more kills coming through as Kemet Raw takes down Mio, fights all over the map. And it looks like everybody just wants to wrap up this event and go home, Timmy.
Oh my gosh, well, it's going to happen soon, and we are down to 23 players already, fight after fight. Shockwave LOL on Clockwise not able to sleep for just a second, as it looks like another set of gamers will come through for the party, and the action is on. A long-range boulder coming out from Shockwave doesn't connect, but it looks like Clockwise will be able to step up and take out Zach Sledge and Barbie Bambi from the game. A little bit of toxic slaps to do the dirty deed. But as they take a look, admire their loot, to admire the spoils of victory, Clockwise will get tagged big time as all the armor and a good portion of HP has now been taken away from them. Nice little Frostlands coming out from the outside, and now both those players appear to put the pressure on Shockwave and Clockwise. Nice little heal up as Thirsty will be a great value there. But Clockwise get left behind a little bit and get punished for it big time. Fireballs coming out from Shockwave as the pressure comes from this opponent, and it looks like he's been able to turn the tables and might be able to take this fight. Nice little fireball, and we'll be able to get an exile onto, I'm not sure who that was there. Who did he take out? Alicia? Was it Alicia, I think? Arnando going down in the kill feed as well, as it looks like Solar Bear will be able to do the dirty deed done dirt cheap. And now Clockwise taken out by Soft. It's your boy Ross and Crashy coming through, takes out Lash Out and Kemet Raw TTV. They got a couple of exiles for themselves earlier, but will fall to the hands of Ross and Crashy in the kill feed. But it looks like Maju going down as well as a Programmer 69 and Maju are fighting it out, and it looks like the team Praise the Sun might be in some action right now. This could be a big opportunity for some people to knock them down, or it could be an opportunity for them to hold on to that to those points that kind of put them in that second place earlier on.
Yeah, we've certainly seen Praise the Sun pull out some crazy plays to get themselves even further at an advantage. But now we're watching Arnando be in orb form, just spectating his teammate from a distance. Programmer 69, you can see, is getting jumped on from multiple angles, trying his best here, as Crashy also cashes out in the kill feed with a kill onto Kemet Raw at the same time that It's Your Boy Ross takes out Lash Out TTV. But now Arnando giving us a really beautiful spectator angle. Shout out to Arnando for giving us that little camera. But we got Camsucks now in his perspective with that nice skin, throwing down and trying to go down and hit some of these shots, trying to make sure that he can get that pressure off onto these opponents. He switched up to the Frostborn too, so nice choice by him to maybe put a little bit more damage from a distance. Teammate Elpadog is on that Stone Shaper, which we know Elpa is so comfortable playing.
And if you notice, we have yet again the three same squads that kind of butted heads earlier, making their way into the similar area and fighting it out once again. That was our Runic Dreams team. That was Arnando on Programmer 69, and that was and that was Solar Bear and Maju. Looks like Maju will go down to Programmer 69, but Arnando falling down to Elpadog, and that is a very, very difficult, spicy situation in that area. Programmer 69 managed to get away. I'm not sure if he was able to ever come back and bring his teammate Arnando back to life, but definitely was trying his best to, but did not come through and really, commit to it, as there were some monsters lurking by, keeping a good eye on that orb. We see Camsucks and Elpadog pushing in with some frost shots coming from Cam. Can't make anything land yet. And as he skates in on his alacrity, gets a little bit held up by some toxic sludge to the ground. Scott Danny coming through and X out on the Programmer 69, and that will be the end of that team of Programmer 69 and Arnando to the hands of Scott Danny. But it looks like Alicia X Life still in the mix and throwing down some bodies, as Odious does get slapped in the face with a toxic slap, and that's going to hurt. Ouch. Camsucks with a long-range Frost Lance, and now looks like he's going to be able to move in to help his teammate out a little bit out here in the open field place.
Yeah, we got Elpadog with another name change. He's now I'm North American, so solid choice from him on the username. I'm glad we have team records, or else I would be very confused by such changes. But we got Camsucks taking shots from the backside. He's been successful at applying pressure, just not too many of them to land. With 15 people remaining and the pace of game we saw at the start of this match, Timmy, I would not be surprised to see a little bit of a slowdown here as each team waits to rotate into that final circle. But as I say that, Dork Pineapples is right into this 2v2. Gay Pineapples taking a lot of damage on the front side, but using a great S-key spring step to bring himself backwards. That Pyromancer offhand with the Stone Shaper primary really doing some work for him, as you see his teammate is a little bit stranded. Timmy, this brings back the issue they had earlier where Dork gets separated and Gay Pineapples has to do what he can to bring them back together. They will reunite, but they got to be careful with those angles.
Both great players. I think maybe a little bit of lack of communication there. Gay Pineapple's making a really great move to get that spring step and get on top of that tower. And now we see the ping coming out from, I think, Gay Pineapple's here. And, repositioning to this tower. If you've ever played Spellbreak in a competitive situation in this circle, if you get a circle around this area, these towers are highly, highly contested. One, because of the high ground advantage. Two, because they're so hard to scale without using resources like rune charges and class skills. So you can really punish your teammate for coming up there on that tower and really just take them out of the game. But it looks like Alicia X Life will be going out of the game to the hands of our boy Elpadog, as Scott Donnie comes through and gets that secure onto Soft. Really good play, making it pretty far again, but not going to be able to take that dub. Camsucks and Elpadog still in the mix, and it looks like Cam will be taking that front line situation as Elpadog desperately tries to heal up. Now coming back in with some shockwaves to back him up, and that 44 damage will do a lot to bring this gamer down to about one shot range. Now we got to see Elpadog coming in to put a lot of pressure on, but it looks like Camsucks needs some more help. He did come back to the back line, back to where he should be safe, but it looks like he does not have a lot of help or armor to deal with. A lot of pressure coming in from these squads, and now Elpadog was called back. He said, hey man, I need help. Elpadog coming back to man that back line and give him a little bit more backup, and now both players have been able to put out enough damage that should give them some breathing room, should give them some pressure on their opponents, and allow them to reposition and really heal up well. We got Elpadog jumping out to the left to kind of get a flank position, and it looks like it's going to be a really good cross section for Camsucks and Elpadog, but doesn't last long as they kind of rotated around each other and fight it out here in the middle of Halcyon.
Yeah, you're watching Elpadog with that wind offhand, dealing consistent damage on top of the shockwaves that he's landing. There it comes through onto Slammerox, as now another opponent will get drained by this wind offhand from Elpadog. We've seen this strategy before from SK the Darkbreakers. It's so powerful, and Elpadog is just showing just how much damage you can output at a consistent level. That will be a squad wipe, as now Camsucks does get picked up by Elpadog. Great work from Runic Dreams. And Timmy, it looks like they're trying to get a redemption game before we all go home here. Runic Dreams is trying to show that they can take more dubs here.
This could be what they needed to hang on to their placement. And like we said earlier, it's going to be the best of 5. So one game that they didn't do great, couldn't be that big of a deal if they are able to come through and perform well in this one. And already they are performing so well. Beautiful build coming out from Elpadog. I call it the Punisher build as it really just punishes anybody. He has the Wind Gauntlet that punishes anybody that's in the air for too long. He has the Stone Gauntlet that punishes anybody that's on the ground for too long. And he's really just going to be able to offer so much great backup to his teammate there. Cam Sucks getting a little bit focused. It felt bad, and I'm sure that he didn't like it as it was a 2v1, kind of just pushing on to Cam Sucks there. But that situation can happen, and you can still come out on top and really just make the most of it as you see Elpadog really taking advantage of that pressure onto his teammate to get some very nice wind spam and shockwaves to the back of his opponents as they do go down pretty quickly there. 10 players remain as our last round is about to end soon, and the action is popping off on Damaju and Solar Bear. Can they take the dub in this one and prevent Runic Dreams from taking it? Oh my gosh. Crashy going down to Solar Bear as he desperately tries to fly away with Flight Rune, and that's going to be somebody that we've been seeing come through in these lobbies and perform well. Unfortunately, going down at this point is not going to be great, but you know what? Really did a great job anyways.
That was disgusting. He plants the shot on Crashy, moving Flight right past him. Solar Bear manages to keep his track up, flick the wrist, and aim the shot with trajectory. What a snipe from Solar Bear. It is play after play after play from this Frostborn main as we see 8 people left in the game, getting the camera over to Adrian Shimmer with that high ground spot, throwing in damage where they can find the angle, but not very consistent. Throwing fireballs from this distance is in no way a guarantee that you will land some shots. And we see this team just being very cautious, Timmy. They don't want to overcommit, but these opponents who have those Frost offhands or those Frostborn primaries are just doing so much to pressure them.
Yeah, you have to really be worried about the frost coming through. You have to be ready to put down the firewall, worry about the landscape, try to find some structures to hide behind, because if you get tagged by that, it's a high-risk reward type situation, like I said earlier. But if they connect, it will most definitely be the meaning of a hard fight for you, an uphill battle from that point on. But some nice firewalls, as it looks like this team has been able to find themselves in a good position outside of the action and able to throw some firewalls down to keep themselves even more so out of the limelight. But it looks like the firewalls are not really going to be able to do much. Hoping for a little bit of splash, but can't really make it connect. But really good play. And you see a little bit of value of Solar Bear on that Frostborn. Not only is he good to hold the back line and hit some big shots, you've seen him kind of jump up there and aim for a second. And what he was doing was he was using that Frostborn class to highlight any enemies and kind of get a better perspective, a good eye on any enemies that might be around. And he was able to actually spot some players that was hiding in this structure and kind of give his teammate and his team some direction here. But it looks like Dork and Gay Pineapple's in a really optimal position, not in the safe zone yet, but should be able to move into it just fine, able to use this structure as kind of a stronghold and now be able to move into the final circle, probably on the heels of their opponents, or at least in a pretty good position and be able to set themselves up for this final confrontation.
For sure, there's still a lot of space to work with, but Adrian Shimmer is actually close up to an opponent fighting in this 2v2 situation. His teammate is doing his best to get some more pressure, but both of them are getting very low now. All blue gauntlets and rune for Adrian Shimmer is not exactly what he was hoping for in this final circle, but we'll see what they can make do. Getting off these pots, that Thirsty's helping them get that reset as soon as possible, but his teammate Game Time's far away, and as the circle shrinks, Timmy, they need to get a bit more close, a bit more compact, a bit more coordinated if they have any chance of winning this 2v2v2. Right as you see somebody drop down, Dork goes down to Maju PTS, and this fight will break off. Adrian Shimmer finishes Solar Bear PTS with the firewall. 6 players still remaining, but 2 are down on the ground, so that is a 2v2, and we'll see how this one breaks down.
Oh, this looks like it might shape it up to be an upset, you guys. Adrian Shimmer and Game Time really positioning themselves perfectly during this entire interaction. I cannot tell you how many times people have just jumped up to the cliff to find them waiting for them, and it looks like it's not going to change at all, as it looks like they will take their first dub of the qualifiers, finishing strong and really, like I said earlier, positioned perfectly. They played it slow. They survived until that final 10 situation, and they put themselves on a perimeter of that circle and slowly moved in as everybody fought it out. And while they were at each other's throats, this team came through to clean it all up. And that was a beautiful, beautiful display of movement and positional awareness. Wow.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to break down at the end there, but instead of a 2v2, it was actually Adrian Schimmer facing off with one player who needed to get the res. So the pressure was totally on the opponent. Adrian Schimmer just executing, staying calm, and working through that fight, taking a surprise W in game 6, like you said to me. And we are just going to wait a little bit longer for these scores to get finished tallying up. We will present them on stream, but one thing I want to mention is that the scorecards, or sorry, the stat sheets that you guys are used to seeing with our exiles, total damage, we're having a bit of an issue with that right now. So we will put those up in the Discord after the broadcast. We just need about an hour or two to straighten out the details of the stat sheet. We will show the top 5 scores on stream in just a minute, but I just wanted to let you guys know that stat sheet with all the detailed information will be coming out a little bit later this time.
Okay. I also want to point out and actually kind of get some verification. I'm not sure if you know, but it looks like Adrian and Schimmer and that teammate. I don't see them on the qualifier list as a team, so I'm not sure if they're actually participating. However, I think the final remaining participator was Gay Pineapples, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not sure. I guess they will get the points for that placement. But it looks like we had a whole team come through that wasn't even in our qualifiers and pop off, and that just goes to show you, man, how many people are coming and really starting to play the game. Like it's more and more people are finding out about Spellbreak. More people are getting passionate about it and pushing it and learning the game, and that's exciting. It really is.
Yeah, we got Adrian Schimmer in the chat actually saying, give us our spot on Qualskis, Timmy. So that should tell you right there, they are not a part of this qualifier, but they sure looked like it, coming in with a beautiful dub right there to win game 6. So regardless, I guess we give them their props and credit for taking that massive dub. Should have the scorecards coming up soon. But I want to ask you, Timmy, was there anything or any team that you were most surprised by their performance, good or bad?
I mean, I think that we talked about it before we went live, and I was kind of didn't know for sure. I had high hopes, but I was kind of keeping it low expectations because I didn't know exactly how it would work out. But I mean, we can't in the qualifiers without talking about Synonymous. I mean, Crashy, a fellow caster, we love the guy. He makes a lot of awesome content for the game. It's your boy Ross, somebody that I know personally that plays the game very, very well, but doesn't have as much time to dedicate to the competitive scene. Playing together for the first time, really in a competitive setting, and really just you see the evolution of them every round. They got better. They performed decently in the start. The second one was a little bit rough as they kind of refined it and got a little bit more comfortable. But by the third round, they had their idea figured out. They had their composition figured out, and they just really came through. And I would say probably surprised a lot of people. It's one thing to be a good Spellbreak player, but it's a totally different situation to come into a competitive lobby and throw down in these squad games and do well. And they did it.
Yeah,
So,
that's a great point. And we talked about it before the broadcast as well. Those are great individual players, but it's not exactly easy to jump into comp with the high communication, the high rotations, and just make it work based off purely mechanics. And they brought both elements, the macro and the micro, together today and had some success with it. So shout out to them. But while we're talking about teams, I want to talk again about Dork Apple. Was so pleasantly surprised to see their performance out there today. Dork did fall down in a lot of compromising situations, maybe a little bit overextended, but I don't think that takes away from his performance too much. They both as a duo performed great. Obviously, Gay Pineapples gets a little bit more credit for some of his performances, but I was very, very happy with Dork Apple's games today.
Oh yeah, I see that team. I see nothing but potential. Great plays coming out from both of them. A little tightening up on the screws.
Yeah.
Make sure that you get a little bit of that communication down pat. But really, really honestly, I'm very impressed with Dork Apple. I'm glad that you brought that up because, like I just said, these lobbies are not like your average lobbies. You can't watch these players come through and get a few exiles and chalk that up to the same thing as hopping into a pub lobby and getting a few exiles. These are kills that you have to work for. Every player that you fight is going to be a player that's experienced, that knows how to fight and knows how to put up a good fight. So it's just not as simple as just being a good player and knowing how to play the game. It's a lot more that goes into it, and I really do think that if that team is able to just tighten the screws up just a little bit, like I said, they're really going to come in and pop off in the next few events for sure.
Yeah, great points all together. And I'll just give production the go ahead. Whenever you guys have the scores ready, go ahead and throw them up. Not sure exactly what the status is on the final count, but feel free to throw it up whenever. We will continue to break down what we saw in today's games. And thinking back on it, right, when we first got into game one, the pre-game chat, I was very, very excited about Runic Dreams. I thought they were a shoe-in to end up in that first place, and they had a fantastic performance, but by no means were they dominant like I was expecting. It was a very, very competitive set of games. Nobody was extremely just running over these lobbies.
Oh yeah, I think Runic Dreams, both great players, both very experienced in the competitive scene, may have kind of taken a little bit of a backseat on Spellbreak. I think Elpa Dog's kind of focusing on a couple of other games. I know I've seen Cam Sucks play a lot in the past week or so, but definitely maybe not as super into the game right now. I mean, obviously they're great players. They love the game. They spend a lot of time on it. But I'm definitely seeing people like Crashy and Ross and Maju and Solar Bear and really like putting the time in, putting the effort in, and really focusing on getting that dub and really putting the effort to make that happen. I think that Elpa Dog and people like Cam Sucks can come through and almost effortlessly put up a good performance. So like a lot of times they might play a game or so before they go in, but they might not be spending the whole week talking about strategies and this and that. So that might have been a little bit of what happened as they kind of, it took a step back a little bit from the game, but they definitely still came through and put up a great performance. And I got to say, just watching Elpa Dog is always a pleasure. He's always so smart about his interactions and the way that he uses what's allotted to him in the game. So not surprised that they were able to come through and put up a good performance, but I'm really excited to see who comes out on top because Praise the Sun stepped up. Synonymous stepped up big time. We even had some players over on EU that showed up and started doing better than we had previously thought. So as the scores get tallied up, I'm kind of excited to see what you think, who you think is going to come out on top. Excited to see what the chat thinks as well. The scores are pretty close, you guys. I'm thinking about who's going to be coming out on top in first place here.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, really. I mean, a lot of those games were just back and forth. Some teams coming out with significantly more damage, and then the next game, the competing team pulls out another pop off. So it's really hard to tell. But while we talk about these teams and individual performances, we have to talk about Solar Bear, Timmy. I can't believe that we actually have not mentioned his name so far in the post-game breakdown. He had a fantastic set of games with plays that you could clip out and put on YouTube. You would not even know it's a competitive lobby. He's making it look so easy in some of these shots. That 1v1 versus Crashy on the disadvantage was beautiful. Some of those snipes off high ground were just so contested. It's such a pleasure to watch a talented Frostborn player come in and pop off like he did today.
Oh yeah, that's what I always say. It's one Frostborn doesn't get a ton of love, although today is kind of contradictory to that. We've seen a few Frostborns, but when you see one that knows what they're there to do and they know how to execute that, it is just it's a thing of art to watch, to be honest with you. And the thing about Solar Bear is he's such a smart, calm player. He makes the right decision in almost every situation, and he's ready to react as well. So he's got that, he's great for the Frost to be able to get that ping damage to initiate. He's also great to get that cleanup. But one thing that I'm more impressed about is his ability to counter. Whenever things happen, whenever things start to not go his way, he has the tools in his box and he knows how to use them properly to be able to counter whatever's happening to him. If people get too close, he has what he needs to be able to slow them down, deal the damage, reposition, and get back to where he needs to be. And that's just going to be, like I said earlier, such an incredible asset on any team, any squad. It doesn't matter what your other teammates are playing, because having somebody that's not only a backline sniper that is able to do out some big damage, a scout that can tell you what's going on around you and often does that for the team, but also somebody that you can rely on in a difficult situation, it's just going to be invaluable. And we see him do it every single time. Solar Bear popping off, man.
Oh, it's all great points. And I don't want to take away from Maju as well, because that's the duo. You can't just have a one-man performance. And like you were saying to me, it's a team effort. To be able for Maju to rely on Solar Bear is so nice for that extra damage, but vice versa as well. Solar Bear is able to know that Maju can make the play. He can dive in, and while he might go down for the one-for-one trade, it's still a consistent play that you can pull off. So these duos just come down to trust, communication, and mechanics. And we saw all three coming out from PTS today. We are ready to show the scores, Timmy. So let's pull it up, and I want you to break it down for us.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, some surprise shakeups coming through at the very tippity top. We cannot sleep on the one and only Praise the Sun coming through. That's Maju and Solar Bear, like we were just talking about, coming through with 1,993 points. Just a tremendous amount of point gain in the last few rounds, and really just pulled ahead quite a bit with that damage and that placement. We got Runic Dream coming through with a second place at 1,763, and Synonymous in that third place at 1,392. Really did a great job. In the end, fell a little bit short of the second place, but looks like they're really able to come through and put on a great show for the chat. Royal Ravens at fourth place in 1,172 is that score, and Dork Apple coming in at fifth place. I'm not surprised. Dork Apple putting on a great show tonight and really working together and picking up some big exiles at 1,131 points. Cutie Patooties in sixth place. Clockwave in seventh place at 615, and Cutie Patooties at 920 at sixth place. EV at eighth place at 536. The Villains at ninth place at 477, and Mage Hunters in 10th place on that 396 score points. Really awesome race today, you guys. The duos qualifier is always a pleasure to watch and to see you guys come through and really show up in these lobbies. Praise the Sun showing up in a big way and taking that first place spot. That's surprising.
Yeah, what a set of games we saw right here. And if you guys compare this score sheet to the halftime score sheet, you see that things changed, but at the same time, they stayed the same. All of these teams performed at the same level. There was just a bit of turbulence in that 1, 2, 3 spot, and you love to see that in competitive events. The 4 and 5 spots as well had a bit of a change up. So it's nice to see this type of movement. It's not just a consistent set of games. There's changes between every match. Shout out to Praise the Sun for winning first place, and remember that every team 1 through 5 go on to the finals. So Cutie Patooties, unfortunately, is the cutoff team. Everything below 6th and 6th itself will not be in the finals. But I want to give a massive shout out to Cutie Patooties for their performance today. Coming out with 920 points on the cusp of qualifying is a fantastic result for them.
Yeah, definitely was excited to see that team in the qualifiers, and was excited to see them come through and put up on a good performance. Like you said, they really got close to getting into that qualifier zone, down in that 6th spot, almost up there. In the end, unfortunately, does fall a little bit short, but really an awesome performance coming in from Cutie Patooties, and honestly, everybody coming through and put up a great show for us. And it was a lot of fun to watch. We appreciate everybody coming out and enjoying these qualifiers and these element events. Looking forward to the final tournament and seeing exactly what happens whenever the prize is on the line and we see some of these players. Like I said, we got Elpadog, we got Campsteps, we got some players that have been playing these for a long time that might kind of consider themselves somebody that's pretty much a shoe-in. I'm not going to put any words in their mouths, but probably think they've got at least the top 5 spot for the qualifiers in. So they're going to come through in that tournament setting and really put more effort and see what happens when you see those really experienced players apply themselves. But then we got the new players coming through with a new way of doing things as well. So either way, it's going to be exciting coming up. So make sure you guys join up in the Element Discord so you can keep track of all the future events. And like we said earlier, we will have all those detailed scores ready for you in about an hour or so. Thank you guys so much for coming through, Place.
Yeah, it's been an honor being out here with you, Timmy. Always a great experience casting with you and casting for this community. Just fantastic support all around. I want to mention as well that you guys should be back tomorrow for 6 p.m. Eastern. The MOE Duo Qualifier will be live streamed again as well. So make sure you don't miss that. You don't want to miss out on these element events. As you saw today, guys, the action is never ending. And quickly before we wrap it up and send the raid to someone else in the community, massive shout out once again to the graphics team, which is Nikolai, Jovan, and Jellied. Shout out to the production team of Dr. Strofo, Brett, and others, and also those at Element who helped moderate and set up the tournaments. Again, Brett, Zen, and all the rest of those involved. So thank you so much to everybody at Element and all the viewers at home. I hope you guys had a great time. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Anything else you want to say, Timmy, before we send this off?
You guys, thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.